Welcome everybody to today's stream. Hope you had a nice day so far. Let's have some fun in Guild Wars, shall we? So let me quickly set up everything and then hopefully it should work. Welcome Saint, welcome. How are you doing today? I am very excited for the Guild Wars 2 December, or in general December. There are a lot of good things happening in the game, so I cannot wait to talk about it. Like, it will be really nice, and I hope that I'm not disappointed after like all the news that we get in December. So no volume. Okay, 1 second. Do you not hear me? Is it welcome? I mean, Saint, is it working now, or is it really? Is it welcome? So should work. I didn't change the setting, at least. Yeah. Okay. Very good. I guess it was just because I was not I was too focused on something, so I did not talk yet. That's probably more. Yeah, very good. Welcome everybody, welcome. So let's see what we can do today. Of course, if you have any questions, always welcome. Just ask. And you might also ask why I'm excited. Yeah, what is happening in December? Yeah, let me tell you. December will be a very fun and exciting time for people, specifically for people that want to get some news about balancing. Yeah, balancing in Guild Wars 2 right now, if you have like any awareness of what is happening, is a little bit out of whack. Let's leave it at that. And I hope that December will not only fix it, but will also hopefully make the meta somewhat stable. And in that sense, that I'm, as a content creator, can actually say this is what the new normal is, and not like have builds that do 60k DPS and tell people, yeah, that is really good right now, but it will not stay like that. I really hate this, and I hope there will be something. Thanks a lot, Suvkovsky. Thanks a lot, really appreciate the sub. Thanks a lot. Are you gonna do PvP today? Yes, I will do some PvP. And we'll do actually quite a bit of PvP because I really enjoy PvP right now, especially push. I don't even know why. It's just like I like to play push a lot, so we will do some PvP later. Yes. Winter's Day, exactly. Winter's Day is one of my favorite festivals in Guild Wars 2, probably my second favorite after Halloween. That will be very fun. And it's also, I think, just a cozy time of the year, and there will be a lot of news in December about balancing. That's what I like. And I hope that we at least maybe get a roadmap, or at least a hint of a roadmap in January. That is my big hope, because the last roadmap ended in December. So I hope that the next one will start in January, and there are big hopes for a really crazy good roadmap. That is my big hope. Maybe I will be disappointed, but you know, a guy can dream. Yeah, you can still hope. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully you'll see it like me, and I'm also excited for the changes coming up. But in general, I think Guild Wars 2 right now is a little bit in a, I wouldn't say like drought, but it's like there is nothing happening other than the event of Winter's Day, and maybe next week I think there starts a roller beetle race, but no new content in that regard. And that is quite cool, that there will be some balance news that, like, so to say, heats up the content, or the problem that, or not the problem, but just nothing new that we got in the last 1.5 months. And balancing for me, especially if they do some big reworks, and I hope they will in January, that they will announce it in December. That's my prediction, and hopefully that will get you all excited. And I'm already excited, so that's good. So taking Spectral Grasp here for a nice pull. Very good. But yeah, if you have any questions, just ask, as usual. And yeah, I mean, currently also, if you didn't see it yet, we have expansion sales going on. There's still Black Friday sale going on in Guild Wars 2. So if you have not all the expansions and want to purchase them at some point, be sure to check that out. And don't forget, if you want to support my channel, you can use my referral link for no additional cost for you and support me. Yeah, that's the idea. So let's see how Bronzebringer goes here. And so far so good. No one died. That's already quite positive, for sure. Now you use the Spectral Grasp so that you pull the Wisp in. That's always like, you don't use it when the CC bar is up. Use it after so that you get 2 Spirit Action Keys. That's the ideal way to do it if you get the CC in the first place. But if you do, it's extremely good. You can see we are almost at 50% without the boss doing almost any attack. So it's really, really good. Nice, I even got the CC. Very good. Is Flamethrower on Engineer Condi or power based? So you can use it actually for both. That's really weird. In Guild Wars 2, the Flamethrower is an attack that does power based damage but applies burning as well. So depending on what you build, it actually does power or Condi damage or both. I would personally say in competitive modes, it's more like a power based weapon because you really want to deal a lot of AoE power based damage. In PvE, I think it's more a Condi-based weapon because typically in PvE you would rather use Flamethrower with its abilities as a Condi-based weapon. So it depends a bit on when you want to use it, but that's what I would say. Some core weapons are long overdue for buff rework. Exactly. I think like they don't have to do like a complete elite spec rework. Yeah. I personally think like just looking at some weapons, looking at some skills, maybe some utilities, you know, that are a complete set and say, okay, this doesn't work for this specific class. That's just completely outdated or just weak. Look at Mesmer, for example. Mesmer has extremely good utility skills, like extremely good ones. But if you, for example, look at the, how is this called, this blocking Phantasm that applies like Taunt. This is like, it has never been used in like the last 5 years by anybody. So maybe look at this skill and maybe completely rework it, maybe buff it, whatever, yeah, just something. And there are so many examples of that, like really, really, really. So hopefully we get that, yeah. I'm fine with whatever as long as they nerf Conduit and Ritualist for PvP and World vs. World. Yes, I'm with you there. I really hope they nerf stuff that is crazy overperforming, specifically in competitive modes. It's really frustrating. That's why I will not play ranked today. I will play unranked because it's currently the end of the season in PvP. And I'm not joking. If you queue up for a ranked match right now, you will have like 5 Conduits in a match. Because everyone plays Conduit because it's so overtuned. And if you don't want to play like Conduit, you want to have some fun on another elite spec, it's quite likely that you will have a disadvantage. And that's just really sad. And I'm not a big fan of that. So yeah, I really hope they will change some stuff and make it so that it doesn't have to be perfectly balanced. Just make it so that not every single time we have Conduit, and then we have next time we have Ritualist being OP. I want to have some different elite specs, different classes that are getting to shine, and hopefully the balance in general in competitive modes is a little bit less focused on the new expansion elite specs. Yes, I know they want to sell it, but come on, you know, I don't want to be the guy, but you should not be forced to buy the new expansion if you don't want it. Yeah, and still have decent classes to play. Yeah. I'm actually not a big, like the thing is, if you want to play very competitive in Guild Wars 2 and competitive in like scenarios, doesn't need to be PvP, World vs. World, whatever. You need to be like quite strict and quite focused on that. So if you want to win a monthly AT, you have to focus a lot on that. You have to play a lot of ATs and have a team. You cannot just say, I play ATs alone and find some people there. No, you have to be a 5-person team. And the same goes for GVGs or raid tournaments or whatever. And if you cannot provide that, or if you cannot have that all the time, then this is definitely a negative. And don't forget, you also have to invest a lot of time. And I'm a full-time content creator right now. I put a lot of effort into my YouTube videos and stuff. I don't have the time to make like multiple hours a day focused on something that I might not even be like making content about. Like, I can't really like make videos about it. I can't really stream it that much, or at least not as engaging. So for me, that is something that I maybe at some point want to do, but it's not something that is that easy. You know, you could imagine that someone that has like 5 hours a day playing Guild Wars 2 would be able to do that, yeah. But I don't play that much Guild Wars 2. I play most of my Guild Wars 2 on stream. I'm not joking. If I don't stream Guild Wars 2, I mostly make videos about it. So I'm not engaging that much with like tryharding and playing like PvP for 5 hours straight. It's crazy. It doesn't sound like it, but the life of a content creator, at least for me, is a lot of content creation and not that much of gaming. Yeah, that's the way it is right now. Is high elo or AT not running conduit or DPS? Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. Yeah. Condi conduit should be buffed in PvP. It's really underused and weak there. I mean, that is a statement. Let's leave it at that. That is definitely an opinion. Yeah. Would you recommend to buy the new 3 expansions in release order? I would say, if you are a story enjoyer, yes. If you don't care about story, I think go for the one that you actually like, the elite spec or the weapon choice or whatever, or the general flair of. It is not important that you go for them in order, other than having like story spoilers. Then they are even like quite small. To be honest, I would say it's something that should not be your priority. If you like what you see with the expansion, what is currently like provided with the expansion, Sanjay Wilds gives the spear, Soto gives the legendary armor, stuff like that. If you are more interested in that, go for that. If you like the story, go for in order. That is what I would recommend, yeah. Deciding between Guardian and Engineer, looking for the ultimate generalist. Both of them are really, really good in generalism. So you can easily play a Guardian in every game mode on every single role. You can easily play Engineer on every single role. I think Engineer is a little bit harder to get perfectly down in every single situation. So I think Guardian might be my superior choice. It's easier to learn and has more flexibility in baseline, so you can play all the elite specs. You don't have to have all the expansions. Engineer is maybe a little bit more forced right now to get all the expansions, which is not a bad thing if you don't care about that. But personally, I think it's probably a safer bet with Guardian. Yeah. I've been watching Arrowly past few days doing PvP, and yeah, the meta is quite toxic with those OP elite specs. Yeah, I think PvP is always like, you know, in PvE, if someone doesn't play the most top DPS elite spec, that's somewhat fine. You know, no one really cares if you do like a little bit less DPS. But in PvP, if you like just don't have the best spec that you could, you are just somewhat like shooting yourself in the foot, yeah? Because it's like at some point you are having a difference of skill by like 1 to 2% in the player skill. And if you are playing a different spec that is just 1 or 2% better, then you will lose or win because of the spec. And that's definitely noticeable in PvP a lot. And I'm not saying that Conduit is only 1 or 2% better than other Condi specs, just mentioning it, yeah. Yeah. I still out DPS other boon DPS on my power boon chronomance. I just stand no chance against DPS any longer. Before I usually was in top 3. Yeah, I think it's completely fine. You know, I'm playing also boon DPS ritualist right now, and I'm always like top 2 DPS or something. It's just like I want to play different specs and don't want to grieve my group by playing them. For example, I really would like to play a quickness troubadour, but I tried it once and I was like bottom of the bottom. Yeah, I was like like only the healers were lower. Yes, I was not perfect with the rotation, but like everyone, even the builds that were like, I don't know, just auto-attacking were higher because Condi Troubadour in general is not as like broken as other classes. And I think they should just fix a bit and then we are all happy, hopefully. Thanks for the Luminary build. Helped me a lot to play Guardian. Perfect. That's what I like. Yeah, I mean, makes sense, Morty. Makes sense. I will maybe get to it in the future. Yeah. Yeah, I think the old specs are not outdated. It's just like they are a little bit overshadowed. That's more like it. And I hope they bring all in line so that we all have something that is like fun to play and you don't feel like you are grieving your group by playing a spec that does like 20k less DPS on a benchmark, because I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, you know. I don't want to grieve my group by playing a spec that is just definitely worse than other options. Yeah. I think Lara is an amazing content creator. I really like watching her. She's always so positive. I'm so happy that we have her in the community, and hopefully we can do some collaboration at some point. Yeah, Lara is awesome. Yeah, really great. I heard that a redacted popular streamer says on stream that Conrad doesn't need a nerf and that Bart is the OP spec. I think Troubadour is OP. I think Troubadour does also need a nerf. I'm not joking. I think Troubadour also needs a nerf. However, I think that just because one spec like Conduit or Troubadour are deserving a nerf, that is like the reason to say it's okay that we have other broken specs. Yeah, I think personally we should get most of the stuff in line so that you have a lot of choices, not only 3 choices to play. Yeah, so I'm not with them that I say I think Conduit and Troubadour are probably definitely top of the top. I think Conduit might be the top, but either way, I think they deserve a nerf. Like absolutely, I'm playing a lot of Evoker and it's absolutely busted, and I hope Evoker gets a big nerf as well. But I think it's nowhere close to how strong Conduit is if you play it right. How do you complete this with the Knashblade achievements, which you teleport around different waypoints? So there is a wiki. I have a link, like a guide about it. I released it on Tuesday, I think. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. And there is like also the link to the wiki, and I showcase it. So you can just follow around. It's quite easy. It's like takes like 5 minutes. Yeah, it's really, really good. Welcome, Patricia, by the way. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Teddy Tang. You're back. How are you? How are you? Are you back in the game or just lurking in my stream? Yeah. Welcome, Talesh. Welcome, welcome. I'm from Germany. That's why my accent is not perfect. But yes, I'm from Germany. Sadly, Spear is locked behind Chantier, which in my country is the 3rd most expensive expansion, even in sale. A lot of builds use the Spear, and I think Spear skills look cool too. Yeah, I think Chantier Wilds is an expansion that is, I have to be honest, one of the top purchases for any player, because even if you have already an elite spec unlocked, let's say you bought Heart of Thorns 10 years ago, if you don't have the Spear, oftentimes the meta build or the best build in any game mode uses a Spear. So that means that you are somewhat like in a disadvantage already by not having the expansion. So it doesn't matter which elite specs you have, sometimes you need the Spear to have the best weapon. And that is a little bit sad, but I can understand that, and it will forevermore stay like that. So it's a worthwhile purchase just for the Spear. I really enjoy Spear. I play it on almost every class, every day. It's really, really good. So yeah, if you have the money, I think you will not be sad about it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's noticeable that I'm from Germany. It is. Nice. I mean, nice that you still pass by. That's good enough for me. Hopefully you have fun playing Aeon too. Do you like Rammstein? So I would say not generally, but some of the songs are actually not bad. So I personally would say some of the songs I like, but not generally all of them. So I'm a little bit like, I like a lot of different kind of music, but not always like, if you have one specific artist, I don't like every single song of them, even if I like most of them. Yeah. I want to start experimenting with obscure specs like Viva and try to squeeze the maximum DPS I can on a specific boss as a challenge. That is a really cool challenge. I personally would say, for example, let's say Viva is a very interesting one, because Viva is one of the specs that might, even with the current balance on some bosses, be top DPS. Yeah, because or let's say not top DPS with the broken Visions of Eternity specs, but let's say before Visions of Eternity came out, Viva could pull best in slot DPS numbers on a specific boss, but you needed insane amount of like knowledge about the fight and the rotation of Viva. So for example, if you play Silent Surf challenge mode, the top DPS Condi build there was Condi Viva before Visions of Eternity come out. Now it's like probably Condi Evoker, but still, the reason that I'm saying this here is that if they nerf down the Visions of Eternity specs, which is expected to happen on the 9th of December, so in like a little bit more than 1 week, this is quite likely to be, again, a very, very, very good build, if not the best DPS build. However, there is only a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of people that actually can pull that off. So it requires a lot of training on the golem to make the rotation perfect, and then you need to have a lot of knowledge about the encounter that you want to get the best in slot DPS benchmark. Yeah, and it's a really cool challenge. I really, really like respect that, but it's takes time. Be aware of that. Yeah, Relic of Rivers is insane. I think that might be one of the reasons why Chante Wilds might be a really, really good purchase as well. Just having the option to have such a crazy, crazy good solo relic is probably already, with the spears together, the reason to purchase it, to be honest. There are a lot of good relics in Chante Wilds, but Relic of Rivers is probably one of the best. So, yeah. Does anyone know when the big bench comes out that brings the matchmaking system for raids? It's supposed to happen on the 3rd of February. So you can see that by going to the special tab, and then there is 66 days remaining. That's always the, so to say, counting to the next big patch, next big update, and this will be the 3rd of February. This is obviously subject to change. That might change depending on how much time they need, but that is currently the best educated guess. Yeah. And I would say it, like in 70%, let's say 80% of the cases, that was accurate. Sometimes they changed it by a week when they noticed they couldn't make it. But for now, I think that seems quite likely. Yeah. Yeah. Aeon 2, pay to win. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, Eduardo. That makes a lot of sense. How many items there are in Guild Wars 2 that allow you to sell chunk items? Items like the Endless Blackline Express merchants? I would say there are a couple of them. Like I have, like in my head, I have like 3 of them right now. Doesn't mean it's like the only ones that there are. But I personally like to have the Blackline Merchant is a good one, but it's quite expensive. If you like want to get a maybe a little bit cheaper option, you can go for the Ecto Gambling one that I have here. Tarkon Personal Delivery Portal, that does the same thing. And you also have that for the Sandstorm one, so for the, how is it called? I don't even know anymore. The from POF, the one from Crystal Oasis, from the first map there. I don't know how this one is called, like Sandstorm something. That one as well, you just gamble a bit of Ectos, and if you are lucky, you win. If you are unlucky, you lose like 500 gold or something, and then you have this item. And this item lets you purchase Ectos and stuff and gamble, but most importantly, it lets you use the merchant here. And the cool part about this, you can also run around, as you can see, and the window is not closing, which is really, really good for multiple reasons. But for me, it's like just like convenience. I can do 2 things at once. Yeah. Have you seen this build? They abuse the water field to get 70k one. Yes, I saw that. The Steam Shrieker, whatever this relic is called, where you get like a really big burning combo when you blast a water field or something. It's really, really fun. It will never work in real situations because you need to have a permanent water field down and no other fields that you prioritize, but it's so cool. It's such a cool idea. I'm so sad that combos like this in Guild Wars 2 just don't really work. A lot of times it's like you have to combo with yourself. You cannot really combo with your players because it's too unreliable, but it's so cool that you can make builds around having like 2 players working together and then getting insane benchmarks. I think it's really cool. Will get nerfed for sure. Like it will not be the way to do it, and never ever if it ever was, but it's a really cool idea. Like really, really cool. Never played WoW, but Guild Wars 2 communities what made me stick with the game. Aside from Spear and Relics, what big benefits aside from the story 2 Chante Wilds brings to the table? So people already mentioned there are homesteads in there, and I would say the maps, especially Lone and Shore, is really nice from a design perspective, and it's fun to play. And if you're like a story enjoyer and achievement enjoyer, there are a lot of different things there, and it brings the legendary spear. So if you like the look of that, I actually have it equipped here as well, this one. If you like that one, that is definitely a nice gimmick, nice thing to have. But I would say the big drawing point for me as a player is definitely the spear and the relics. Those 2 are definitely the big. The Warclaw rework is also good. The Warclaw is quite nice, but that's about it. Like Chante Wilds is not the biggest expansion. Definitely not. Yeah, shared inventory slot is a really, really good investment. I have like a lot of them, and I probably don't need that many. But if you interested in having at least a little bit of efficiency in your gameplay loop, I would say getting a couple of inventory slots that are shared is insane value, and I can highly recommend it for sure. I'm really hesitant to get frustrated from the money I spend. So I think if you buy it on sale, even if it's currently still one of the more expensive expansions, I would say it's still worth it. Yeah, I would say even for the full price, for me it was worth it. I got a lot of content out of it, and I think you might as well. And if there currently is a sale ongoing, which it is, I think you get at least like, I'm not sure how much you get for Chant of Wilds, but I think it's still something. It's not like Visions of Eternity where there is no sale going on, but it's I think still worth it. Yeah, I think so. I'm not saying this because you can support me using my referral link. I'm not saying that. I would say if it's shit, you shouldn't purchase it. But I think it's still worth it. Like, Guild Wars 2 has a lot of content, even in the smaller expansions. And I don't know. I think it's worth it. If you can spare the money, I think it's definitely worth getting it. At least if you enjoy the game. So, looking good. I'm not even concentrating on the fight, and I'm second top DPS with like Ritualist Quickness DPS. It's really, really good. That's one of the things that I really hope gets nerfed. I know a lot of people will hate me for that, but I hope Ritualist gets like completely hammered, the damage, like halved almost. Nah, not like that, but like say 66% only, yeah? So that you actually have a reason to take other DPS specs and not play anything that is like insanely tanky. You know, I have like effectively like 40k HP on a Quickness DPS build that provides like stability and provides utility and healing and CC. It's insane. I think the damage numbers should be way lower, like way, way, way lower. It's just so strong, you know? Something new coming up? So what is coming up in December? For me, there are 4 things coming up, I would say. The first one being on December the 3rd or 2nd, I'm not even sure anymore. It's like Guild Wars 1. So if you're enjoying Guild Wars 1, if you played it before, there will be Reforged happening. That is something that might be exciting for you. Then on the 9th of December, we will get the balance patch that nerfs hopefully all the Visions of Eternity specs to a level that all the others are also interesting to play again. That is my big hope. And on the 15th or 16th, one of those 2 dates, I'm a little bit bad with remembering the dates perfectly, but let's say 15th or 16th, there is a balance preview of the balance deaths happening for January. So there will be a January balance patch, and they will do a review live on stream, and hopefully that means that there are some big changes coming to other specs as well, to buff them, to give some reworks to underused weapons, utility skills, classes, whatever. And that is my third big hope. And then I was like, obviously, I'm still excited for Winter's Day. You know, Winter's Day is a really cool festival, one of my favorite ones in the year. And I hope that we will have some fun with it and get some new rewards, maybe some new activities even, yeah. It's in the description. If you're on YouTube, you can scroll down. It's in the description of my stream. There is the link to my referral link to the Guild Wars 2 buy the expansions. If you're on Twitch, it's links in the pinned comment. You can also use that. Or in the stream description as well, yeah. What's the best healer? Check of all trades. I would say Firebrand is better. Firebrand is better than Druid. Druid is a healer that is really good in PvE, but in competitive modes, I think Firebrand is the best. Like for all game modes, that is. So if you want to play World vs. World, Firebrand is amazing. If you want to play PvE, Firebrand is amazing. PvP, it's okay. It's not crazy, but it's okay. So I think it's definitely the superior choice. Yeah. Absolutely. There we go. That was a smooth run. I was stationed in Germany for a few years. Nice. Very good. Glad. Maybe you even noticed some German. Very good. Very good. Very good. I hope that it gets the Scourge treatment. Yeah, exactly. I think personally, like, there is a place. I have a video coming up, I think later today on my YouTube channel, for specifically DPS debate. That I think there isn't a big space for builds that deal a lot of damage, but don't have any support for allies. Yeah. But there should at the same time, and that's the important part, there should be no utility on the kit. Like currently Ritualist does like insane damage while having insane utility. In a real world where you balance stuff, you should say, okay, you have stability, you have crazy amount of effective HP, you have crazy group support other than boons. In my opinion, a build like that should have like at least 10, 15, 20, let's say, % less than filling the same role with a different class that doesn't have that, should have at least 20% more damage or less damage depending in which direction you compare. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Philip. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Tried your unkillable Scourge build, but I keep dying on it and not sure what I'm doing wrong. I mean, it's really, really good. Thanks a lot for the support. I will showcase this in a second. Then I hopefully can explain it to you. I'm getting sick of the new specs and meta in every mode. I get that they make them overtuned to sell the expansion, but they need to bring them to a similar level. Exactly. I think in the beginning, like in the first 2 to like say 3 weeks, I think it's fine because they want to sell the expansion. But at some point they have to bring it down so that the flexibility that we all like, that you can play a Chronomancer that is like 15, no, not 15, but let's say 12 years, 10 years or whatever, Heart of Thorns came out, old elite spec, you can still play it. But the current thing is like, if you want to play the top DPS builds, you have typically to go for the Visions of Eternity ones. And that's a little bit sad. You want to have more flexibility. Hopefully they acknowledge that and hopefully they nerf it down. 9th of December. Big hope, big hope. So stay tuned for my YouTube channel. Video coming about it on the day. Yeah. But on a real note, I think the main issue with the new elite specs is that they're not defined in a specific role. They can all do high DPS. Most of them can share their heals. Both can spam all the boons you need without sacrificing. Yes, exactly, exactly. I think you should have some like inherent changes to stuff that is overperforming because of not only DPS, but also utility. I think a lot of people always see the DPS numbers and think that's the only thing that needs to get nerfed. No, it's not. You have to take so much more into account to a build that makes it strong. I still believe to this day, Condition Virtuoso and Condition Scourge are for hard content absolutely overpowered, even though the DPS numbers are very, very small. Yeah. I have a co-worker here in Brazil that plays Guild Wars 2 and he invited me to try it because I was telling him how bad the state of WoW is. Forgot to mention that he's from German. Nice. I mean, happy to help people getting into Guild Wars 2. Very good, very good. They nerfed Chrono just before the expansion so they can make the Bard the new meta. Exactly, and that's sad. That's definitely sad. It was a small nerf, in my opinion, and it didn't come out with the side effect that you can use the same gear for Virtuoso and Chrono. Actually, I like that change. I personally think the Chronomancer change was okay because Chronomancer was like absolutely highest of support tier. There was no other support that actually made it close, in my opinion, to support Chronomancer. And I think it's completely fine that they bring the absolutely best performing build down. But I think making other specs that come out now after Visions of Eternity being the new best broken spec, I think is a little bit like questionable. So I hope they nerf it down now so that you have like at least 5 different specs that are surprisingly good in a lot of situations. That is my hope. We will see. We will see. Maybe I will be utterly disappointed when the expansion drops. Or the expansion nerf drops, rather. But, you know, who knows? So let's see if I have the Scourge build somewhere here. Solo Scourge, that's what it is. I want to showcase it. I will go to the Airdrome and will showcase how I play the Scourge build and why it's so unkillable. Yep. That was a question here. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it's for World vs. World, Chronomancer is completely dead. Like for competitive modes, Troubadour is just insane and Chronomancer is completely gone for competitive modes. For PvE, it's not the case, but for competitive modes, World vs. World specifically, or even PvP actually, it's like completely like gone. And that's a big problem. I think you should not make like a spec that completely replaces another spec. I think that is bad. Like customer practice, you know, you don't want to like make something that is just saying, yeah, too bad you don't purchase the new product. The old product is just like replaced by the new one. But you know, that's I think you should have something that at least if you like already paid for it, it should be something that is actually still usable and not completely like outclassed by on every single situation in competitive modes. Like I would never recommend anyone playing support Chronomancer in PvP or World versus World right now. If you have access to Troubadour, it's just straight up better. It really is. Which is sad, but that's just the case. Extremely damaging field. Just wanted to mention it here. Spawner Golem. And let's put some food on. Well, it doesn't really matter. Like just some food. I think we need the Torment food. Yep, there we go. A little bit of Torment food. And some Toxic Tuning Crystals. I go all in. I want to showcase this here. Let's answer some more questions here, and then we will get to it. I tried your new Gale Shot build. Yeah, I'm happy that you like the new Gale Shot build, because it's really, really fun, and I want to get more people trying out different things with Gale Shot. So glad you like it, Phil. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for your support again. Really appreciate it. So let's catch up in chat, and then we will showcase it here. I'm not familiar with the PvE meta. I haven't done instance content for over half a year. That's fine. It's completely fine. Yeah. I want to try and make a World versus World guild at some point, if there is enough interest. You know, a World versus World guild with 3 people in it is a little bit like not existing at all. So I think if there are a lot of people that are interested in playing World versus World with me specifically, maybe in the beginning small scale, like 5 people roaming around, or like Zerg busting or something like that, or going like full on like Zerg mode and going like 25 plus, if we have enough people, sure. But who knows? At the current moment, I think there are not that many people interested, but you can ask in our Discord. And if there are like at least like, let's say 10 people interested, then maybe we will do it, yeah? Or I will try to make it happen, for sure. The next content patch will probably happen with the current like expectation in 66 days. So that's the 3rd of February. There is no roadmap that actually announces this. This is just a guess, or not, let's say educated guess from this specific date here. It's typically, let's say 80% plus, very likely that this is correct. Sometimes they change it by a week, but it's very likely to be the 3rd of February. Yeah. I have a Guardian as well. Yes. They need to give Heal Elementals some major love. I don't know. I think Tempest is surprisingly underrated, and I think it's quite good. So let's showcase this. Like, I'm dodging in to actually get not that much damage, and then I just provide a lot of like barrier to myself, you know, barrier, and just hitting the boss, like, or the golem here. And you will see that I have no problem sustaining myself, because I have a lot of barrier generation, I have a lot of healing, and I can just outlast the extremely damaging field. I don't follow any rotation, you know, I'm just pressing random buttons here. I'm not joking. So this is the showcase here of this build, is like pressing a lot of different buttons and hopefully being like able to sustain that here and getting a lot of damage. That is the idea. The Scourge build is a little bit spammy, but it is very, very easy to play and outlast the extremely damaging field alone without a big problem, and having very, very good DPS doing so. I don't know. It's a good build. Yeah. So definitely good. I was a little bit slow on the opener, but you can see now my health is like staying almost constant. And yeah, it's good. Very good. Just wanted to showcase this here because someone had a question in chat. There we go. Is there a way to see the Guardian Spear skills out of the game? Yes, you can go to Guild Wars 2 skills, or you can go to, for example, the wiki, Guild Wars 2 wiki. There are so many different websites that have actually the API link to the Guardian Spear skills, but I can also showcase that, of course. In general, Guardian Spear skills are quite cool and looking quite cool and good, and also very strong. You use it typically on a power build on Guardian, like almost always. It's just so good. Where is it? Power Willbender, for example. Yep, there we go. So the auto attack is just like in front of cone attack. Come on, load my spear, please. There we go. It's just the conal auto attack. The 2 skill is a dash. Not too exciting. The 3 skill is like a whirl attack that does some lighting around you. 5 skill is the symbol and knockdown. And the 4 skill is like the big signature attack of like raining down spears. That's the spear in a nutshell. Yeah. Welcome, Simp. Welcome. I was using Celestial Gear on that specific build. I have a build guide on my YouTube channel about it. It's like called the Immortal Scourge or something. Yeah, Celestial Gear. But works with a different gear setup as well. I think Celestial is the best though. for open world. Always happy to help, Baldro. Always happy to help. Air Wizard is designed for Zerg mostly, but it's quite fun and easy to play. Ooh, interesting. Air Wizard sounds cool. That is definitely something I want to try. Let me save that. It sounds very interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing. Which Guardian spec plays like a Paladin from World of Warcraft? I would say, to be honest, if I had to make a choice, I would say it's probably Luminary right now. So the new Luminary build, or the new spec that came with the latest expansion, that feels like a Paladin. A little bit at least. I think Paladin in Guild Wars 2 is like hard to perfectly suit one class and say this is the class that is the Paladin. But I think it feels like the most like it because you have blocks, you have defense, you have some holy light summoning and stuff and healing allies while also dealing some damage. I think that is what comes the closest personally, I would say. Yeah. How many characters do I have? I have like, I don't know, 70? 70 in use, in total 73 slots. I have a lot of characters, yeah. But what can you do? You know, I played the game for way too long. That's the main thing. How to learn Amalgam? I mean, just play it a bit. Listen to someone having a guide, making a rotation, following a written rotation, whatever, and you will get better. It's just playing and practicing. That's going for every single elite spec. It's the boring answer, but that's what I would do, yeah. That's what I would do. There's really nice damage as well, less DPS than 4 Elements Evoker, but it's way easier to play. That sounds really cool. Like Air Wizard, yeah, sounds really good. Let's play some push. Let's play some push. Let's see. I want to play some Evoker bursting with Spear. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, Linus, I'm with you. I think I have like so many characters and most of them I use just for storage. I'm not joking. I like to have different characters, like I have this one here for PvP and another Elementalist for World vs. World and another one for PvE, but half of my characters are mostly used for storage. Like this character is used for bags, that's it. Just having 20 slot bags here. But there are other characters. I had a video about it this week where I had like 3 or 4 characters full of Eternal Ice Shards. So yeah, it's just like I use characters mostly storage and build different builds that I want to use. Yeah, this is for PvP. Yeah, that's just how I play the game. Not everyone needs that. Just wanted to mention it, but that's how I play it. Yeah. In WoW, they call the Retribution Paladin the wheelchair class. Okay, I mean, it's like Willbender without the mobility. Okay, I mean, it's hard to... Currently, there was a wheelchair class in Guild Wars 2, like, let's say 3 years ago, where Scourge was the wheelchair class because it could teleport downed allies, so people that were in need of resurrection, you could teleport them to you and with one button press resurrect 5 people. So that was the wheelchair class in that sense because it was providing players safety, like a safety net that did not know the encounter and were constantly going down. You could just resurrect them all the time. That is now completely gone and therefore it doesn't really exist like a wheelchair class in that sense anymore for me. But it was really, really good. Yeah. Do you think Antiquary is better with Spear? Yes, it is. It is way better with Spear. I think Spear, Power, or Condi Antiquary definitely gets on another level with it. Yeah. Dagger is good, but I think Spear is the best option for Antiquary if you want to pull the highest numbers and stuff. Yeah. What's your Jadebot core? Array and chip. So my Jadebot core in PvE characters, that's the only time where it matters because in PvP and World vs. World, the Jadebot core does not matter. It does not increase your vitality there. So I have always tier 10 on my PvE characters so that I get the maximum amount of vitality. That's just a must, I would say. Then I use the trophy thing that gives the magic trophies or the might trophies. So just giving some random drops every now and then from killing enemies. And that will be sometimes lucky, powerful blood or something. You get like 40 silver. That is really, really good. I like to use that. And the other one I didn't even equip on all characters. So I used the treasure hunting kit on some characters that I show which, like, there is a treasure nearby or something, treasure chest, but most characters don't have that because I don't care that much. It's just not important to me. Just do whatever suits you best. You know, if you want to, I don't know, get the resurrection faster, use that one. If you want to drive faster with the skiff for whatever reason, use that one. But I think they are not that important. It's more like get the vitality, get the extra loot, that's it. Yeah. I spent the whole weekend getting the hero points for the new expansion. Oh my god, that's a long time. Yeah. Is there any core class that has alacrity or quickness? So saying there are some core classes like warrior that can provide a little bit of quickness, but I think there is no core class that can provide alacrity. And I also think that you are unable, just baseline, to upkeep permanent quickness or permanent alacrity with any core class. So in general, I would say the answer is no. You cannot play a support build with a core class that provides permanent quickness or alacrity. At least in PvE, that's not possible. Physically, okay, so you mean it's the slowest class. Okay, I mean the slowest class in Guild Wars 2 it's hard to say, because in Guild Wars 2 you have a lot of flexibility. You know, normally you would say like something like a Scourge is very slow, but you can take the Portal there, you can take like Speed Relic if you want to be very fast, and then you move very fast as well. I don't know, I think in Guild Wars 2 like being a snail is not necessarily true anymore for a specific elite spec. You can make every elite spec somewhat mobile. Not like insanely mobile, but at least somewhat. So in that context in Guild Wars 2, that doesn't exist then. Welcome, Skynet. Welcome. I'm a new player looking for a new main MMO. Would you recommend Guild Wars 2? I think Guild Wars 2, let's give a very too long didn't read answer. Guild Wars 2 is a great MMO for players that like open world content, that like massive multiplayer instances and like boss kills and stuff like that. If you're looking for a raid MMO, for a dungeon MMO, Guild Wars 2 might not be the thing, because there's just not enough content coming for that. But if you're looking for the massive aspect of open world PvP, if you're looking for open world boss fights with 50 to 100 other players around, and a lot of stuff to grind, no subscription fee, and most importantly, horizontal progression, that is the game for you. If you always want to chase a carrot and get the best in slot gear and want to do that for the next 5 years, then maybe not Guild Wars 2. That's the short answer. I like the game, I like it a lot, I play it every day, but it's obviously I'm biased because I'm a content creator for Guild Wars 2. That's the short answer. Hopefully, short answer. Yeah. Is your Immortal Catalyst build still working? Yes. I would say there is. I have an Evoker coming up, but Catalyst does more damage than Evoker if you want to be Immortal. So Immortal Catalyst probably still the best solo build out there, for me at least. Yeah. Thanks, Snowbleach. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. If anything, I think Spellbreaker is closer to it, because the full counter bubble. Retired Paladins have shield that absorbs damage and explodes. That's the only similar skill I can think of. Yeah, I guess that can be it as well, yeah. I mean, I don't have that much experience in WoW, I have to be honest, so I cannot give you a completely, like, perfect analysis of what fits. But I think it's always quite hard to say, this is exactly the same class. That doesn't work. Guild Wars 2 has so many skills. WoW has so many skills. I think it's very hard to make a class that is very similar. It's just some skills that are similar, some skills are not. I think Guardian and Warrior probably, maybe even some Revenant specs can be close, but I think it's definitely one of the heavy armor classes. Yeah. There is a lot of content in the game. I personally would say if you start the game now and you grind every day for 4 hours and play the content, you will probably have at least like 3 to 5 years where you have a lot of content to do. I'm not joking. If you play casually, you will probably never run out of content. It's really, really good in that regard. But for a veteran like me that played the games for 13 years, I would say the content is more like in phases. Sometimes you get something and then you have to wait for 3 more months until the next one drops. That's just how it is. But for a new player, you have years of content ahead. So I would say yes. What is your opinion about the Holosmith? I think Holosmith is really good, but needs a buff in PvE. In competitive modes, it's actually really good. I think if the other specs gets nerfed, I think Holosmith might be top of the charts again. But in PvE, Holosmith needs some help. It is very complex for what it provides and not the best spec in terms of damage. And I think having a crazy challenging build or somewhat challenging build that is not even close to top DPS is a problem. Is a very, very big problem. I played Guild Wars 2 for 400 plus hours, never went into raid. What do you think is the requirement? I mean, just knowing your build and having at least full exotic gear is good enough for being a Raider. This is my target now. You are my target. Oh my god, of course he puts the traps there. Nah, we get the kill. There we go. Now we let him bleed. Oh, there's another one coming. It should be a kill here, hopefully. My team is losing this, obwohl... Oh my god. Come on. My team is losing. We are like 96% and I got like 2 people here and I let them rest. I know, but I have to like defend my thing here. It's like push in a nutshell, you know. If your team is like, I mean, we have a dead eye. Dead eye is like very bad here, like very bad. This guy is dead. Can we get this guy as well? But it doesn't matter. My team is losing. My team is just losing straight up. Nice, we got at least at some point the cap. This guy has to die. It's a little bit annoying. There we go, we got him. So I will catch up in chat after this. Most content eventually lead to legendary crafting. I would say if you're a player that wants to get like a long-term goal in Guild Wars 2, it's typically you want to get more skins. That is typically what you would expect. Getting legendaries is one thing, but you can also get other skins, and just getting gold is typically the long-term goal that a lot of people have. I don't know who to target here. They're all very like annoyingly tanky, to be honest. I mean, they are just standing there. I mean, that's a good target. If they are standing there, I mean, nice, we got one. Core Elementalist, I mean, probably a good target for sure. That is a nice interrupt into a nice damage. Very good. I think we get him here. Yep, there we go. Oh, I mean, I didn't die yet, but my team like has to push a bit as well. You know, we have to push. We have to push. Can we get the kill here? We should be able to get one more kill. Yep, there we go. We have the cannon controller coming up in 10 seconds. This guy's dead. No, they have invulnerability. Okay. Okay, now we got the kill, hopefully. So many blocks and distortions and what? Again, another one. I mean, there are two tanky people here. That's annoying. Okay, now we have it. Now we have it. We have the thing on me. How many distortion does this guy have? It's annoying. Stop it. I mean, they don't deal any damage. And I'm full squishy. I have no tankiness whatsoever. I mean, we are pushing. We are winning. We are winning. My team is winning. Insane. No damage. No damage, Troubadour. Interesting. Now we just run away. And now we hopefully... Ooh, there are a lot of people coming now. That's not good. I'm full squishy build. I have no tankiness. Nice, my team 98%. If we just hold it now, we win. Oh my god, that's so close. Holosmith needs help in competitive modes, it's fine, but it needs help in PvE. That is my assessment. In PvE, Holosmith is too challenging for what it provides for a lot of players to play, and in a lot of situations, it's better to play something that is easier to play and probably even does more damage as well. It's just sadly not perfect for that. So hopefully now we get a kill here. Nice, we got them. They will rally here. Yep, there we go. And now we kill them again. That is the idea here. Very good. Nice, we got the rally. That was very, very, like, a lot of stuff I've invested here. Push in a nutshell. It's very stressful for me on this build. I like, if I die once, it's probably like not winnable anymore this match. Maybe we get this one. Can we get the res here? Maybe we even get the res. Crazy match, crazy match. And I experienced this a lot. Like, nice, we got the cleave. Maybe we can get the kill here on this guy. We need really a lot of those like buffs. We really want the buffs. No one is going for the buffs, which is a little bit sad, to be honest. They are losing against the core elementalist. That's impressive. Very impressive. We got the cleave, but my team didn't rally. That's a little bit unlucky. I mean, we get the rest here, hopefully. Ooh.
Hello there.
Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Sailors. Welcome. Thanks for raiding. Hope you had a nice stream. We are just like stressing in push here with like Spear Catalyst. Hope, not Catalyst, Evoker, rather. Ooh, that was a nasty pull. Getting that down. Maybe getting some nice damage here. Turning a bit. Ooh, nice damage. That was a good turn, but I think I might still die here. Oh, the burning. I have like one Conde Lens on this build. Like one Conde Lens. I have to get out of combat. 2 minutes. It's so close. What is this match? Yeah, Gale Shot is very fun for PvP as well. Like, Gale Shot is very fun. It's very, very similar to this build. A little bit more defensive. This is like completely squishy. I have no defenses. Nice, we got a kill here. Dodge this. Maybe we get another kill here. Get the rally. Yeah, we get the rally. That was so close. We need 2 more minutes and we have the win via timer. That is the good part here. The bad part is if they push once over 98%, then they win the match, of course. That's how it goes. Oh, that's so close. I will catch up in chat after this. It's just like, it's so intense. If I look away for like a couple of seconds, my team will die. It's like, or I will die. Probably both. Oh my god, why are they following me? It's so mean. We have to do this and hopefully get this guy here. Maybe we get a kill down here. It's like, of course the Condi Tempest is on me. Of course. Ah! I will just annoy them. You know, as long as they stay here, we have 45 seconds. We die now? Maybe we can make it. Here to let you know how much I appreciate your content. Very much appreciated. Thanks for the feedback. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I think that's a general PvE problem. There are a lot of low intensity builds that outperform complex build by a lot. Wish they would work on that. Yes, I have a video coming about this topic today. Yeah, I'm like very, very like aware of this issue and I think they please go in. Yeah, thanks. We have to just 15 seconds. 15 seconds and we win this shit. 15 seconds. No. Run in. Oh my god. My teammates. What are they doing? This is insane. That was insanity. That was insanity. You know, he could have just died on the node and we would have won. There were 2 seconds on the clock. 2 seconds. That's insane. Yeah, we threw that. Obviously. That was crazy. That was crazy. That's push in a nutshell. I had a lot of fun in this match. My team was absolutely unaware, to be honest, but it was really fun. How did I top healing? Top healing. I played a full aggressive build. I had no defenses. I had 2 Condi clears, like one attack that does 2 Condi cleanses. That's it. That's insane. That is just insane. But I mean, it was fun. Hopefully I had a nice, like, time watching. Yeah, entertaining time. So let's catch up. Thanks again, Salos. Hope you had a nice day and stream. And yeah, so Winter's Day is coming, not coming Tuesday, but the week after. So the 9th of December. Yeah, as far as I know. So it will be around 3 weeks, I think. So the whole of December will be Winter's Day. That is quite likely, yeah. Or that's how they mentioned it, yeah. I think it was the 9th. I'm pretty sure it was the 9th. But maybe I'm wrong. It could be wrong. Could be wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's this week, but I'm pretty sure it's the week after, because this week is coming the Roller Beetle event, and after that I think it's the Winter's Day one. Is there any cool rewards you can get during the Winter's Day? So it depends what you mean with cool. It's a nice pun, by the way. I would say in Guild Wars 2 you can get the winter infusion. Winter, some kind of like Winter's Heart infusion. This one you can get dropped. That's quite expensive, like 150 gold. And you can get the Toy Maker's infusion. They have a lot of cool like loot in there that you can get. Toy Shell infusion. So there, and the Snow Diamond infusion as well. So there are some expensive drops. There is no diamond. Where is it? Infusion or something like that. There we go. Oh, also 160 gold. So they have some rather expensive loot that can drop, but they also have some really nice skins. They have some nice festive activities. I think in general it's like a very fun and entertaining time. It's not for everybody. Yeah. Nice. That's too bad. I wanted to join that group, but okay. You can make some really good karma during this event. Winter's Day is known for being like one of the best karma farms in the game. It is extremely good for having like a low time investment. Let's say you want to play, let's say 20 minutes a day, and you can get like 150,000 karma per like those 15 minutes. It's really, really good. So if you're low in karma, obviously I'm not. I have like 40 million karma. But if you don't play as much as I do, or don't play competitive modes, sometimes you might struggle with karma. And Winter's Day is the best karma farm event. So that is really, really good. Yeah. And it has really cool vibes. I agree. In general, for gold farming, I personally would say it's a good event. It's not as good as Halloween though. So I would say if you are in for only the gold, it's a good event, but there might be other all-time metas and stuff that you can do that are giving you a little bit more gold. But it's a fun event and can break up your routine. Yeah, okay, so I was right. I'm happy about that. Not that you're wrong, but I was like really surprised if you said it's already this week. I was preparing a video and I was like not sure if I should speed up my process in making this video. So good, it's the 9th. Okay, that's very good, very good. Yeah. Cold outside, WoW inside, Guild Wars 2 gaming. Exactly. Winter's Presence is the best free infusion. I mean, I'm not sure. Is it free? I have no clue. I bought it years ago and it was like bit more expensive. Yeah, Winter's infusion. It's like giving you this. It's not an infusion. It's like it's a shoulder skin, but it acts like you don't have any shoulders equipped. It's just snowing on your character. This is a very cool skin. I really like it. I think it's one of the best looking not infusion items in the game that provide you with some kind of aura. I think it looks really, really good. And it's a nice vibe without having like crazy over the top aura or I don't know, just a flashbang in your face. I think that's a really nice one. I agree. Good point. Yeah, I dropped lots of stuff during this match as well. So welcome, Filthy. Welcome. I tried Spear, SNS Mirage in SPVP, but it turned out to be too hard for me to survive with, since I'm a noob in PvP. Can you recommend a similar low APM build for beginner to farm some Ascended Shards of Glory? I think right now I would say Conduit is like the best option, because Conduit is like somewhat low APM with extremely tanky. So it's like complete opposite of the Spear Mirage, because the Spear Mirage is extremely squishy and Conduit is extremely tanky while dealing still a lot of damage. So I would definitely recommend that one. But yeah, I mean, it depends what you like to play. There are so many different ones. If you like to stick with Mesmer, Troubadour is also very tanky, but it's a support. There are so many good ones. Just like, let me know what class you want to play and I can tell you what kind of specific build is somewhat easy to learn. Yeah. But Conduit is probably the best bet. Yeah. So, if they're a new player and don't have the newest expansion, what is good that is not the newest expansion? Let me think about it. I always like to recommend Sage Tempest, so a tanky condition-based Tempest build. It's not top tier, especially if you want to push into Platinum or something, or even higher. But if you are just wanting to get some wins and have some fun and an easy build, play Sage Tempest. It's tanky, it has a lot of dodges, it is not like punishing at all. That is a very good build, old school build that works. Yeah. And I have a guide on my YouTube channel if you want to have a deep dive there. But in general, it's like play builds that are easy to play. Typically side noders are more forgiving, because you only face a single player, typically, or 2 players, and don't stand in a team fight with 5 enemy players and you get like insane animations and attacks all the time and you don't know what killed you. I think for a new player, my best recommendation is playing a tanky side-noting build, like Sage Tempest, maybe Conduit if you have it, stuff like that. That is my recommendation, yeah. Can you recommend a build with only Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire for a beginner? I mean, it depends what you want to do, what kind of content. There are so many builds that you could play. And I always try to include on my YouTube channel, when I make a video build guide, in the last, let's say, couple of months, I made a video, let's say about Troubadour, or I said I made a video about Chronomancer, and it uses a specific relic, it uses the spear. I always try to mention an alternative to this weapon, because oftentimes people don't have Chantervals, people don't have Soto. I want to give you the option to an alternative that actually works as well. So for example, for Mesmer, Spear can be replaced in 100% of the situations with Greatsword. It's not the best option all the time, but it's the second best. Yeah, something that is strong and easy in PvP. Then I would say definitely like Sage Tempest. Tempest is extremely, like, Tempest is a class, or Condition Reaper, probably Condition Reaper. If the nerfs coming through on the 9th, I think Condition Reaper might be again the top tier Condi build. And Condition Reaper is one of the easiest classes to learn, and it's a Heart of Thorns build. Nothing else required. Heart of Thorns only. So Condi Reaper is really good for that as well. Yeah, or Tempest, exactly. Yeah, people in chat know my answers already, you know. I don't even have to answer, they know that. Yeah, very good. I'm from Germany. So let's see if we can get some Fractal Gaming or something. Or maybe we do another PvP match. I don't know. Maybe we will see. We could also like, what could we do? Maybe we are lucky and get some. No, the meta event is over already. There's not there. I wanted to play some other things. Let's see. Since when Deadeye can stomp from downstead? I think that is not intended. If a Deadeye stomps you from downstead, then it's either you missed something or someone was in stealth, or they cheated. Yeah, or like hacked or something. That is quite likely. Yeah, I don't see any situation where you would say this is possible for Deadeye. Yeah. Yeah, Condi Reaper uses Scepter, and you can use in the offhand a Warhorn with a Staff. Obviously, the best in slot offhand would be a Torch, but you don't have that if you don't have Soto. But it's completely fine. You can play Warhorn with a Scepter and a Staff. You don't need that, the other weapons. Yeah, it's surprisingly good, even with the Conduit in the meta. Yeah. I wanted to get some stuff going. Let's play some World vs. World in the meantime. When in doubt, get into World vs. World, yeah. I wanted to ask about Deadeye actually. How do you feel about them in PvP and PvE? So in PvE, I would say Deadeye is one of the classes that is decent. It's just overshadowed right now in terms of damage output by all the new specs. So Deadeye in PvE is a spec that is made to be played as a full aggressive support, like offensive supporter or full DPS. But the problem is the damage numbers are just lower than, for example, Antiquary, for example, all the other Visions of Eternity specs. So it's like there is almost no reason to play a Deadeye if you want to be DPS build, because it's just less DPS than the others. If you like it, sure, go for it. But I hope the balance patch changes that to some extent. And therefore, I would personally say Deadeye in PvE is in a rather bad spot. In competitive modes, it's somewhat similar. In competitive modes, it's also like it gets overshadowed by the other new specs. For Thief specifically, it's not Antiquary. That's the good thing. The bad thing is it's still not the best spec. So I think in World vs. World, it's very annoying as a roamer. So if it's probably the best in slot for like annoying people in roaming, it's probably Deadeye. But in Zergs or in competitive 5 vs. 5 PvP, structured PvP, I think Deadeye is not the best option. So I think Deadeye in general is in a rather weak spot. Across the board, it's probably maybe even the worst Thief spec. Yeah, that might be a little bit bold to say, but I personally think Deadeye might be one of the weakest specs right now. Yeah, which is sad because it's like an interesting design. I know a lot of people like the spec. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? Yeah. Quickness Deadeye, quite easy to play. Yes. Deadeye has the only big thing going for it is that it has one of the best low intensity builds. You can play a quickness DPS Deadeye and you can play a full DPS Deadeye that is like actually like one button and you do over 30k DPS. Like pressing one button every couple of seconds and setting the rest on autocast, that's it. It's really, really good for that. But if you are a player that wants to get a bit more advanced than just letting the game play itself, then maybe Deadeye is not the best option anymore. That is sadly the truth, yeah. Do you ever have to come out of Gale Shot on your new Gale Shot solo build? When I was doing World Boss today, I never had to get out of Gale Shot. Yes. So you can play that without going completely like just sticking in Gale Shot all the time in the Cyclone Bow. Yes, you can do that. I would say going out of it increases your damage for a bit because you can have some nice burst combos where you like use the rapid fire, for example. So the 2 skill on longbow to deal even more damage. That can work. That increases your damage, but you don't have to. So if you want to play a, so to say, a laid back build, then sticking in Cyclone Bow all the time is completely fine. It's surprisingly flexible in that regard, how you can play. Yeah. Watch Grimtrap playing SPVP with Antiquary. It looks so broken, undying, and unfun. Yeah, I mean, the problem is with Antiquary that it is very annoying to deal with, but I think they will fix that specific playstyle. I'm pretty sure about it. But in my opinion, the base design of Antiquary is not really made for competitive modes in a lot of situations, because the problem is Antiquary is very RNG reliant, yeah? And in a competitive mode, having RNG in your spec is not the best option. Because you obviously want to be reactive, and if you pull an artifact that is just for the current situation, for example, it provides you with a reflect, and you're fighting a melee build that doesn't have any projectiles, it's completely useless, this artifact, and that might lose you the 1-on-1. So I think it's like Antiquary is a spec that is fun on paper, and if the numbers are high, it can work very well. But if it's balanced, I think it can lead to situations where you say, okay, now I just lose because I pulled the wrong artifact. And that is not very, like, you don't want that. Yeah. Welcome, Naso. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, exactly. Weapon swapping gives some traits. I would say you can stick in the Cyclone Bow, but I personally think for the perfect build and getting the most amount of damage and healing out, I personally think it's better to go for like the rotation that I mentioned in the video, where you swap weapons, where you swap like between your longbow and Cyclone Bow, most importantly. Yeah. Yeah, in general, the new specs are just overtuned. That's why I'm so excited for December, because in December we will get the balance patch, hopefully that nerfs down all the elite specs that came with Visions of Eternity. And my big hope is that we will then not only get a big nerf to them, but also make them more balanced, so that I can finally say, this is a build that I can recommend, and it will stay like this for the next months to come. And not making a build video about something that currently is really, really good, and maybe in 2 weeks it will get nerfed down and no one can play it anymore. It's that. So I personally hope that the balance patch actually fixes stuff in a like really important way. Yeah, would be so cool if Arena made a new elite spec focused around Alexis. I mean, we have already like somewhat Harbinger is focused around Alexis, if I have to be honest. Like, Elixirs on Harbinger are the utility skills, so I think that is the elite spec that is focused around Elixirs. I mean, there is a core thing. Why would we do that? There is a core spec alchemy. Alchemy, yeah, it's called alchemy on engineer that has Elixirs skills in there as well. So I think Engineer and Harbinger, those two actually have already some Elixir ideas. Maybe that's what you're looking for. Yeah. How is Spectre? Never seen them anywhere. So Spectre in competitive modes is like a good build. It's not the top tier build, but it's good. I would say especially in PvP it can work quite well. But it shines in PvE as a support. Or a full DPS actually. In Fractals, for example, as a full Condi DPS and so to say ranged Fractals, it's really good. I personally would say Spectre is very underrated. It's just a lot of people are they just don't know enough about the spec to make it work, even though it's a really, really good one. It's just sad that it's a little bit niche and people just don't expect it to be good. Yeah, that is the thing. Ooh, there are a lot of people here. I mean, we can kill this guy, hopefully. Oh my god, it's a Condi. What is this? Should get this. Like, we have 4 people, they are 2. And they have the defender's advantage, but I think we should be able to get this. Yeah, very good. They made antiquaries, so there's a spec boys might be godlike. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think the problem with antiquary is that it's just like, either it's broken or it's completely useless. And I think it's really hard to make it so that it's actually balanced, at least in competitive modes. And I hope they find a way, but I think it might be really challenging. But yeah, in general, I think Spectre is a good spec, and it's just very underrated. Just not a lot of people like the design, or maybe just not a lot of people expect it to be good. I have no clue. It's just a lot of times I personally think Spectre is surprisingly good, and you should give it a try. It will probably work out better than you would expect. Top tier support, yeah. They should just rework Antiquary. Haven't heard a single thief main that enjoys the gameplay. I don't know. I'm not the right person to judge here, to give a judgment here. I personally think Antiquary from the idea is okay. I don't like the role-playing aspect. But I mean, who am I to judge? You know, I'm not a role player at all. I play the class that is fun to play. And for me, that's currently not Antiquary. That is fair. But maybe some people like it. That's just how it goes. Yeah. I tried to play it in Cirque World vs. World. The trades are nice. The issue is that every utility is selfish. Yeah, that is definitely an issue. Yeah, but that's how it's designed. And that's general Thief design. A lot of their utility skills, except from Spectre, are selfish. That's just sadly the design, yeah. They need to fix Evoker so badly. Most unskilled class ever. So strong using auto-targeting. Yeah, I think like Evoker is a class that is, in competitive modes, needs to be like, I mean, in general, like all the new elite specs, Evoker is one of the offenders, but there are so many. Ooh, that is a nasty ult. Oh my god. We got him. It's a Condi. That's why I'm running this here in World vs. World, because there's so many Condi specs around. You really don't want to, like, have no Condi cleanse. In PvP, you can get a Ray a little bit easier because you can just stay at range, but here in World vs. World, there are so many Condi specs that also deal damage from range, so you need a Condi cleanse, a big Condi cleanse, and that cleanses a lot of Condis, like 8 Condis. It's good. That's an Harbinger. That's a good target, I guess. Got him. It's always very fun because I already know that they are so pressured after I'm using my hair attack, my like air familiar skill, that they will probably die after that. It's just so much damage, this thing. And they can barely dodge it. It's really good. Evoker is really like strong. It also needs a nerf, for sure. I would be interested in seeing a comparison of DPS numbers in PvE percentage-wise. I think a lot of the community, it's community perception. Yeah, I think the problem is a lot of people... I made a whole video about this topic, and I can just like always mention that as well. In Guild Wars 2, a lot of people think that the benchmark is like the thing that is the only thing that matters. Yeah, we had it earlier. There is a benchmark of 71k for Evoker. Does that mean Evoker is busted? Yes. Does that mean you will reach that number in a real fight? No. I think a lot of the community doesn't understand what makes the new Visions of Eternity specs so strong. It's not only that they deal a lot of damage. Yes, that is one issue. But the issue is that they have all this stuff in their kit baseline. So for example, look at Ritualist. Ritualist is extremely tanky. Ritualist has like very good boon output in the base kit. You can play a DPS Ritualist, you can play a heal Ritualist, and you can play a quick DPS Ritualist, and all of them have access to projectile block, have access to a lot of CC, and have access to stability in the base kit. So a lot of the community thinks that Ritualist is busted because of the damage numbers. That is true, but it's not the only thing that makes it very strong. And it goes for almost all the new specs. And that's a big issue that ArenaNet has to fix. It's not only about the numbers, but it's also about the community perception, and it's about utility. So there are so many things that you need to like be aware of that it's quite hard for me to say as a content creator that I see a future where they actually fix everything and make it balanced. I really don't see that. Yeah, I agree. I think Spectre is for me the most fun spec as well. Just wanted to mention it. I dislike the artifact concept, but I enjoy the random element of the concept. I love that, old NG elixirs. Yeah, that was really fun. The old engineer elixirs were like completely like bad in most situations, but the idea was really fun. I agree. So for the people that don't know, before Engineer got a big rework to the elixirs like 10 years ago or something, elixirs had a random element. So you could throw an elixir and it would have a specific effect. Or you could throw the same elixir again and it would have a different effect. So sometimes you had, for example, the smoke wall, or sometimes you get the guardian wall, or sometimes you get another wall. So it's like, it's really, really fun, the concept of getting like different attacks. Well, it was those two, I think. But in general, there were different outcomes with the same attack, which is a different, like a very interesting concept. It's just not very like suited for a lot of game modes. That's why they removed it, and we will see if they have to do that same for Antiquary as well. Yeah. I also tried Water Wizard Evoker. Cleanse heal output is the best out there for World vs. World, but it's just no boons. Yeah, exactly. I really like to play that in a Zerg just for raw healing and just getting some value there, but the boon output is just really, really bad. You give region and that's about it. So, I mean, it's if you can play that with other supports that actually provide boons, it's okay, but I think it's not we would not run 10 of them. Yeah, that's to say the least. Yes, I agree. Ritualist seems to be like one of the best specs, if not the best specs across all game modes. Yep. As a Thief main, Thief gets nerfed to the ground, but then Ranger mains get so much out of the only weapon attacks. Yeah, I mean, I think in general, like, Ranger might be one of the specs that has probably the most... how can I say that? At least in competitive modes, I think, like, Ranger, or in all game modes, actually, Ranger might have been the most buffed spec in terms of like damage, or not damage, in terms of weapons. The weapons on Ranger are so flexible and so strong. I think in general that might be one of the best classes in the game if you just look at the weapons. Which is crazy to say, but I think Ranger has really, really good weapons. And now got the Cyclone Bow as a, like, say, semi-weapon as well. It's really good, like really, really good. And anything that doesn't have top DP benchmark is not viable or useless. Exactly. A lot of the community perception is that people should play the top DPS build all the time. So if there is a top DPS build right now, which is Ritualist for quick DPS, for example, on a power-based build, you should play that. There is no reason to play anything else, which is obviously not true. But I think the statement is way more valid that it seems way more valid if the benchmark for the next normal quick DPS build, let's say like quick DPS Firebrand or something like that, is like 15k lower. So I think there is a big difference, and it's also very easy to perform on it. That's the difference there. Normally, if you have a quick DPS build that reaches very high damage numbers, it's typically requiring you to have some kind of rotation. On Rich List, you're pressing your Shroud skills off cooldown, and you're pretty much like already at 40k DPS. It's really, really good. So I think there are some valid arguments that top DPS benchmarks should not be taken into account, or not the only thing at least. Then people should be more open to saying, yeah, play what you like and you will have a good build there. But at the same time, Ritualist is also way too overperforming. A lot of like Evoker is overperforming, and Conduit is overperforming as a DPS. Antiquary is overperforming. I probably could name every single elite spec that came with Vision of Eternity that is overperforming. So there is truth to both sides, for sure. I wish there's somehow some good ability for Necromancer without running the Staff trait or utility or running the Reaper or Ritualist. It would also be enough to give more stacks than just one. Yeah, I think stability is sparse on Necromancer for a reason, because Necromancer is somewhat like, that is the weakness of Necromancer in general, is that you are somewhat, if you get hit, that guy, we have to get, nice, we got him. If you get hit and CC locked on Necromancer, you are probably dead. That is the weakness of Necromancer, but you have 2 life pools typically. So that is, so to say, the balance idea. Necromancer is very strong as something that corrupts, that is like tanky, but it's not known for being like the unstoppable force. So that's more like a warrior thing, stuff like that. And I think that is completely fine, but the problem is it's hard to balance with all the new stuff. If you give a lot of stability now to a specific, let's say, trait, weapon, whatever, then maybe Ritualist, something that is already quite good, will get even better. Maybe, like, I don't know, if you give a lot of stability, Conduit Reaper will get completely out of control in PvP. Who knows? I think that is something that balancing is quite challenging to make perfect. Because oftentimes if you buff something or nerf something that affects one single thing and looks good in a vacuum, if you then put it into comparison to all the other things that are already affected by this as well, you might probably have so many side effects that you did not anticipate or just ignored, that in the end you will probably have a worse outcome than before. So I think be careful what you wish for. For example, I think Chronomancer nerf in PvE as a healer was necessary, so that Chronomancer is not as busted as it was. For example, stability on F4 is really, really good. However, they nerfed it and they hit Heal Mirage at the same time. Horrible change for me, because Heal Mirage was really fun, was an interesting concept. Not a lot of people played it, but it was fun. Now it's completely dead. You just cannot play that anymore. It works, don't get me wrong, but it's like has almost no utility in the kit, no stability. That's a problem. So removing, buffing, whatever, always something affects something else typically as well, and it's really, really hard to make everything perfectly balanced. It really is. If Anet were to add a completely new weapon, what would you like to see? I mean, I guess I would like to see maybe like I mean, if it would be in the game already, would be probably Trident, like a second staff idea or something like that. If we wouldn't have like the weapon in the game at all, then maybe like a Great Axe or something like that, like the really, really large hitting, like a long sword just with an axe setup, maybe a sight, something in that direction. But I don't know. I think they will never add a new weapon. Never ever to Guild Wars 2. I agree. Necromancer is good at it as it is. I think more stability would not be healthy. That is my stake. Yeah. I always tell that to new players, there is a DPS threshold that you should be able to manage, and it's way lower than the actual benchmark. That's why you don't need full Ascended to raid. You can play on a build you enjoy. Exactly. That I mean, that's just, oh, that's a core Mesmer. Can I port up there? Can we kill them? Core Mesmer. Nice, we got him. Stomping the wrong one. No, not good. We got them. Very good. Yeah, exactly. Scythe is probably my top pick, I would say. A lot of Mesmer men say Troubadour is shitty in World vs. World because channeling and it's too easy to interrupt all their attacks. I don't know. I think Troubadour is a very good support in competitive modes. I personally don't like to play it. I always mention it here on stream. I don't like to play Troubadour that much because it has casts instead of the normal instant cast shatters. And I just really like the shatters. Yeah, like having an instant activation feels very reactive. Having some kind of, let's say, delayed reaction is oftentimes a death sentence, especially in competitive modes. So I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I think it's fine. Not everyone wants to play that same concept. So I think personally I agree with that statement, but I know a lot of people still play it in competitive modes because it's really, really strong, like really, really good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the call. Mesmer is just trolling us at this point with portals and like looking at us, I guess. That's fine. That's fine. Spent my hard-earned gold, which I made through SPVP for Ascended Gear and Ascended Cooking. Spent 220 gold, which includes 100 Ascended food, and now I don't have any fun. Oh no, that's too bad. Yeah, I mean, the crafting process, especially like cooking and leveling to 500, can be very expensive. And I think the reward or the end goal is not that like it doesn't provide you with that much. It's not that valuable. So I personally would say for new players specifically, getting your crafting professions to 500 is not that important. It really is not, sadly. Or luckily, whoever you asked. But I personally would not recommend getting that in the beginning. Yeah, I think a new weapon is very unlikely in Guild Wars 2. I think it might, like, people might have some imagination what you could add, but I think the game is too old and it doesn't provide that much value to most players to add a new weapon because they had to design crazy amounts of new skins. They had to completely change how the game functions in terms of like equipping the weapon and who could equip it, all of the classes or just a couple of them. I don't know. That is quite unlikely in my opinion. I think it's way more likely that we might get like a trident on land or something like that. But even that seems quite unlikely to me. I think it's like, at this point, I think Guild Wars 2 is hard to balance as it is. And I think adding more weapons, more elite specs seems not the best choice. That is my take. I like to have build crafting and stuff, but I think even more skills, especially like skills that are accessible to each class, each elite spec, very hard to balance. I'm not sure. I highly doubt it, to be honest. The amount of stuff you could add for Scythe. Yeah, Scythe would be probably the most like flexible one, and you could add it to probably each class, like somewhat like Spear. But I still say that it is not like, you see it with Spear. Spear is either a weapon that is somewhat close to another weapon as well, or it is a weapon that is just overtuned in what it provides. So for example, Mesmer Spear is a weapon that does not exist from the base kit. It's an AoE power-based weapon. So it doesn't exist for Mesmer before. The problem is, it also is extremely strong because it provides a lot of utility. So that means there is almost not a single power-based Mesmer build, like there is not a single based one, where you wouldn't take a Spear. And if you add a new weapon, that would either be undertuned because another weapon would already fill the slot and is better at it, or it would be overtuned. It's really hard to make a new weapon that fills a niche that is not already filled, or fills the niche in a different aspect. So for example, it would be for Mesmer an AoE-based Condi weapon or something like that. I don't know. It's really hard to come up with something that works in that regard. I hope I made my point clear here. Yeah, I think it's way more likely. Let's bring it up. You know, let's name drop it. Let's just name drop it. I think it's way more likely that we are currently in the last, so to say, active phase of Guild Wars 2 development. Yeah. I think it's way more likely that maybe next year, maybe the year after that, they announce Guild Wars 3. I think that seems for me way more likely than getting crazy new elite specs, a crazy new expansion. That seems to be, for me, more likely. I really think so. Just saying it, I'm not saying, I have no confirmation, it's just something that I would expect. Yeah. Honestly, I just think buffing, reworking a little the existing weapons is good enough. Yeah, I agree. I think in general, like reworks or like changing numbers of stuff that is already in the game is way more healthy for the game than adding always new stuff that needs to be more overtuned than the already existing stuff. I think that's just not healthy. It would be way smarter to rework stuff that is in the game, that is underused, that is maybe not used in a lot of situations, and just have fun with that. And that would not break the game as much as you adding a completely new class or weapon or elite spec or whatever. Yeah. That's my take. Yeah. Mesmer Condi builds are underwhelming. Buff Condi Virtuoso or bring a new build concept. Yeah, I personally, I was really sad that they removed the condition aspect of Troubadour. I think that was a very fun idea. Sadly, they removed it and it's now like barely there. I think that is a little bit sad. And in general, I think Condi Mesmer is like Condi Mirage, and that's like Condi Virtuoso in PvE. But in competitive modes, it's like there is almost no Condi build like that is viable to some extent. And that's a little bit sad. I think it's like if you have a whole class that doesn't have a good build on a specific like idea of conditions, damage over time aspects, I think that is definitely weird. So we will have to see if they change that, if they agree, if they don't agree, maybe make Condi Chrono viable. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe that's something. But what would Guild Wars 3 make different than Guild Wars 2? So let's talk about it. You know, if you're up for it, this is speculation. Big disclaimer here. I have no proof of anything that I'm telling you here. This is just my gut feeling, my educated research that I did here about the background information. Yeah, if you're interested in that, we can talk about it. I have nothing else to do, you know, I'm streaming, so let's talk about it. Guild Wars 3, the name drop, yeah, is just a rumor at this point. There is no confirmation, contrary to a lot of people's beliefs. There is no announcement, nothing in the background that like proves that there is a Guild Wars 3 in development. Yes, there was some kind of really weird announcement of NCSoft Cup 2024, I think, that there is something brewing at ArenaNet, yes, but if it's really Guild Wars 3, that is never confirmed. The thing here is, we have multiple indications that Guild Wars 2 is currently not the only thing that ArenaNet is developing. Yeah, ArenaNet is developing an unannounced project in the background. They are hiring people for an unannounced project. This unannounced project has at least a couple of 100 people, let's say 100 people more, 200, 300, who knows, people working on it. And this, in my eyes, means that there is something big. It's not just an expansion of Guild Wars 2, it's maybe a complete rework of Guild Wars 2, maybe it's a completely different game. It might not be Guild Wars 3, this is the important part. It might just be a new game. That is what I'm saying here. How it's called, what it will be, I have no clue. I'm just saying it's something that is new, that is not Guild Wars 2. That is, oh, we have a Condi Conduit. Let's see if we can win this. We have to go kiting here. We have to go kiting and get the damage here and... can we win this? That's the question. I have to concentrate and then I will get back to the point here. That's a tough one-on-one. At least I have some Condi cleanses now. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can win this though. Oh, the Condis keep ticking. And the interrupt. This guy is genius. the lucky interrupt. The lucky interrupt on my healing skill. But yeah, that's it. Either way, I think whatever it is, they are working on something, yeah? And you can see that they now currently, with how Guild Wars 1 getting revived, they are actually interested in making Guild Wars 2 a game that is continuously running, maybe even getting new expansions, but it's not the only focus of Guild Wars 2's development team anymore. So they are focusing as ArenaNet, as a company, on spreading out on multiple games. Guild Wars 1, somewhat active. Guild Wars 2, very much active with maybe new events, maybe new expansions, and the new game coming out in like, let's say 3, 4, 5 years. Yeah, but that seems to me like a smart idea, because making a game studio and making that work on only a single game for decades seems like a very risky move. Yeah, just saying it. And making multiple games, spreading out your attention, laying your eggs in multiple baskets is, in my opinion, a bit of a smarter move. So, what do I expect? Yeah, I think it is very, very smart to do that. That reviving Guild Wars 1 is a smart move, and let's say gives the impression, and probably the correct impression, that they are caring about stuff that they already have out. So if there is a new thing coming, they will tell us at some point and say, but we will continue developing our games. Yeah, and no one will be sad then, you know. It's just like a new, or at least most people won't be sad then, because they can continuously play Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars 1. You don't have to play the new game. But for the people that want to play a new game, that will be there. So I think that is a good thing. However, they have to announce it at some point. And right now we don't have the announcement, so there is no confirmation. It's just speculating. Just wanting to bring that up again. It's just speculation. If ArenaNet would try to release a Guild Wars 3, then it needs a lot of mechanics and gimmicks and systems and stuff people like in Guild Wars 2. So the thing is, I agree with you, and I personally, that might be a very hot take, but I think Guild Wars 2 will be the MMO that people play for the open world. I think Guild Wars 3, however it will be called, needs to be completely different. It will not be a clone. People always hope that there will be a Guild Wars 2.5. I think that is more like a relaunch of Guild Wars 2. I think it's very unlikely that this is the unannounced project. I think the unannounced project is a completely new game. It's a game that is maybe focused more on traditional MMO aspects of raiding, maybe dungeons, maybe it has no PvP at all and no open world. Who knows? But in general, I think it's very unlikely that you make a new game that is just a clone of the existing game. I think they would try to leave Guild Wars 2 running and make a new game that focuses on aspects that are different than Guild Wars 2's aspects, so that you have people attracted to Guild Wars 2 for the open world, metas or whatever, and you have Guild Wars 3 or the other name, whatever you want to call it, the new game, attracting a different kind of player. And I think that is a way smarter move than killing your Guild Wars 2 by just making a copy that is more fresh, more modern. That is very stupid in my opinion. That is, for me, the best argument why Guild Wars 3, or whatever it will be called, is not similar to Guild Wars 2. Really, really big here, yeah. There's quite a few Guild Wars 1 players who refuse to move on. I think they should have made some small updates every now and then. Absolutely. I think it was one of the biggest mistakes they did, that they would just drop Guild Wars 1 development completely when Guild Wars 2 was released. I think that was a big mistake, and I think they now acknowledge that and will not do the same mistake with whatever comes in the future. Absolutely, yeah. My theory was a dungeon crawler like Fellowship, set in Tyria, and you can combine progress with the progress in Guild Wars 2. Maybe, who knows, sounds decent, yeah. Do you think there's a chance of a new genre like a MOBA? Maybe. I think it could be some kind of fusion. I think ArenaNet is really well known for like innovating and bringing some really cool new ideas to the table. Like Fractal idea is like completely developed by Guild Wars 2, yeah, by the devs of ArenaNet, and it didn't exist, at least as far as I know, in any other game before. And Mythic Plus was completely based on fractals. So the idea came, or the innovation was by ArenaNet, and I think that's really smart. And if they can do a fusion of genres, why not? Yeah. I'm playing your Hammer Catalyst World vs. World build. Very good. Yeah, it's good. You can demount people by killing them or using your lance here, this skill. The fourth skill, you can demount them. Yeah. But no more content is also killing your game. Exactly. That's why I think it's really important that you decrease the amount of content you do, because you just don't have resources to make both games actively crazy amount of content, but still push out content. And I think that's another indicator why they are currently working on something in the background. A lot of the new things, look at the events, look at Winter's Day, look at like, for example, the Knashblade event that is ongoing. Look at the Roller Beetle event. Look at those PvP rushes and stuff. They are incentivizing to play a different kind of the game, different part of the game, without actually providing you with a lot of new content. So they don't have to develop a lot of new stuff, but they are still providing some action in a specific part of the game so that people are drawn to it, people log back in because they get some new reward, maybe you get a new skin or something. But it's not like you get crazy amounts of new maps like with Living World Season 3 and 4, where you had every 2 months a new map, new story and stuff. That is not the case. So I think it's more like they are currently trying to automate a lot of stuff that repeats every now and then, and people are still drawn to it, like getting, for example, the quick play working for raids and fractals. It's something that new players will forever use. Stuff like that. I think that is very smart. You don't want to make content that dies within a month. You want to make content that repeats and people still actively, automatically play forever and ever and ever. I think that is the idea, and that's really, really smart. Yeah. I don't want to speculate far in the future. I usually end up disappointing with anything. All MMOs in the past decade been a big flop. Even Ashes, I had some hopes for. It's just like Star Citizen at this point. Yeah, I agree. I think MMOs are like... to this point, believe ArenaNet is a company that can pull off the miracle of making an MMO in the current like environment and making it actually work. I see that. However, I also am with you there. I think it seems to be very unlikely that it will come out in the next few years and be working very well. I think it's quite likely that the new MMO that will come out, if it's an MMO, whatever, if they are working on something in the background, it is probably years away. Just saying here. I mean, I'm not sure. Hubby, I think Mythic Plus, Maybe you're right, it came from D3 Grifts, maybe you're right, but they had heavy inspiration of Guild Wars 2, like heavy inspiration. I think there was even, as far as I know, there was even like some kind of like, I'm not sure, but I think a developer actually mentioned it at some point, but it doesn't really matter to me. The thing is, whoever comes first, if the idea is that ArenaNet has really good ideas. I think fractals are amazing, and stuff like that. So I personally think it seems to me that ArenaNet is a very capable studio of creating new content and new games in general. I don't want to say Mythic Plus came from something. I have no clue about that. Whatever, I just feel like it's very similar to Fractals. And the idea is that a lot of times it's good to be something unique, something new. And I really feel like that ArenaNet can pull that off. I really think so, yeah. Somehow I have different stats than in your video. Yeah, sometimes maybe you don't have the food, maybe you don't have like the ascended gear. And they might also, like, don't forget, if you're playing Catalyst, you get more stats from the trades, depending on if you're on combat and stuff like that. And also you might have, like, for example, different stats if they nerfed something. Sometimes they nerf stuff that you don't get as much values anymore, and then that changed as well. The video is a little bit older, so keep that in mind as well. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to. I don't want to like get into the debate here. What came first, and people saying like defending WoW or whatever. I don't offend any game or anything. I think WoW is an amazing game, and I think they have one of the best developers because they actually get inspired by a game like Guild Wars 2 or by another MMO and copy something and make it straight up better. that needs to be done. I want that in my game as well. I want that in different games. I want to have competition, stealing ideas or getting inspired by other games and making it better. That is just how games get better. Yeah, you don't have to invent everything on your own. It's just way better if you actually find a way to. This guy is really annoying. Like, this is just broken at this point. This class is just broken. I want to get this. Nice. There you go. Yeah, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Do you think they will keep getting new expansions every 18 months for Guild Wars 2? I think they will try to at least make one more expansion. I'm not sure if they will continue doing more expansions like that, or if they just want to continue and say we go into some kind of maintenance mode. We will do less content for the next few years until Guild Wars 3 is out. Who knows? Yeah, this is annoying. Like, look at this. Like, Conduit needs to get like insanely nerfed. This guy is so dead though. Evoker needs to get nerfed as well. Just wanting to mention that. At least we got the kill here. Very good. I would personally expect something MMO light, like with beautiful graphics. Yeah, something like that, yeah. The difference between Blizzard and other devs who admit they got inspired from other games, say got inspired by Diablos, Blizzard will never admit anything of that. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care what is the truth, what is not the truth. I just think we want better games. I don't care what is like the reason. Oh, this guy is like running into our thing. We can get him now, I guess. Three, two, one. Conduit is so busted. Maybe I should play Conduit as well. Maybe I should play Conduit just to showcase how strong this guy is, this build is. Guild Wars 2 needs an engine upgrade, but that might be very difficult. I agree. I think Guild Wars 2 is based, as far as I know, is based on their internal engine that they developed for Guild Wars 1. So the engine of Guild Wars 2 is, as far as I know, over 20 years old, the base code. And that is a problem. It's working, don't get me wrong, but it's very hard to upgrade it. So that's why I think the new game will either have a completely new engine or will be based on Unreal Engine 5, because that's what they are hiring for. So I think they are making a new game that looks graphically completely different than Guild Wars 2 and is way easier to create new content for. That is the prediction that I have. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Great artist copy, masters steal. And I think there is no shame in stealing ideas in terms of development. Yeah. So if there is a really cool idea in Guild Wars 2 and you have a different game and you use that idea and make it better, I'm just happy for this game. You know, I want Guild Wars 2's developers to see something in WoW that is really good, whatever it is, and put it into Guild Wars 2 and put something even better in. Why not? I think that is amazing. That's how you make competition look good. Yeah, but I don't know. I think people always get hung up on something. Who did something first? I don't care. I just hope that the game gets better. Whatever it takes. Yeah, that is my take. That might be a very drastic one, but I think that's really important. Yeah. Guild Wars 3 is not confirmed. No, it's not confirmed. Not at all. We have no information. You can't even do events at night in Guild Wars 2. The map is too big and the player base is too small. I think it depends heavily on what you're doing. I think if I'm playing, like, I don't know, I can do a tick wattle at like 4 a.m. in the morning and people will actually be there and we will get this done. I think it heavily depends on what you're doing, but I think Guild Wars 2 is pretty alive. Very much so. Of course, if you're like farming like Baba Nivos or however it's called, and you want to do that in the middle of the night and you want to get all the events done, maybe not so much, but some maps are just not that active, but other maps are very much active. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'd love if they took some of the social aspects from Final Fantasy XIV In that game, characters actually look at each other when they target each other. In Guild Wars 2, everyone just stares in random direction. It looks so awkward. I don't know. I think in Guild Wars 2, you can also look at something if you target something. But I get your point. I think the social interactions in Guild Wars 2 are a little bit old school and not helping that much. Yeah, there could be so many improvements. Looking at other MMOs, looking at other genres in general, Guild Wars 2 can be improved so much. Guild Wars 3, whatever, everything. Yeah, there are so many improvements on the table. I just hope if they go Unreal, it's not gonna look like other games. Yeah, I think my educated guess, my speculation here is they are hiring people that have experience with Unreal Engine, but they're building their own. That is my prediction. Because Unreal Engine has big limitations, as far as I understand it, and making your own engine can circumvent some of that, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. I never looked at the characters looking at something. I guess you're right. Maybe you have more knowledge there. I enjoy gameplay. I'm not that much into like role-playing aspects, but it's a fair criticism that characters should look at something. Yeah, I agree. I'm a new player, and I think that they should make Guild Wars 3 with same mechanics as Guild Wars 2, but cranked up on everything. Better world boss, better existing mechanics of the game in general, but that's me. I think it would be really cool if they could pull it off and make just a straight up better game than Guild Wars 2. But the problem is, I think... Oh, there are a lot of people coming here. How many are there? That's... it's just one. No, two. Oh, it's a Guardian. Core Guardian. I mean, not good. I'm not sure if we can fight this. And a Deadeye. Now it's getting like a lot of people going here. And obviously they are dagger storming in like a 1v3. That's fine. That's fine. 1v4 actually. The Necromancer as well. 1v5. Yeah, that's not gonna work. But maybe with Conduit, you know? Maybe with Conduit. Yeah, I have no idea. Just saying here my thoughts. Maybe someone in the chat is a developer. Maybe people have more clues. I'm just giving you my opinion, my takes, my speculation, and you can build your own opinion and let me know. And in the end, it's ArenaNet to decide. Yeah, they have to decide what is actually going on, what they actually want. So we will have to see. We will have to see. What I'm concerned about is that Unreal Engine 5 is not optimized for very large numbers of players on screen. Yeah, exactly. And I think that is then very, if they would make a game in Unreal Engine 5 and that's a real issue for them, then it's very likely that it will not be in classic MMO. It will be more down to the ground, smaller parties, not like 50 people on one spot. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like duels in Guild Wars 2, as far as I know, in Guild Wars 1, there was some aspect of where you can make like duel in an arena. In Guild Wars 2, that's almost not really feasible. And I think that's a little bit sad. Some people really like that. Maybe that would even make a really good game mode. Yeah, who knows? It's really interesting. But how can this be the difference in stats for your video? I got 3% more crit and 30 more HP, and I have 100 more power. Same build, all ascended food, no infusions. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let me think about it. Maybe I had a different food. Maybe I had... you have the same traits, the same ascended gear, the same runes, the same trinkets, the same relic. Everything the same. I don't know what could be the difference, because that is everything that should affect the stats. Anything else should not work in competitive modes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, should it make that much of a difference? You know, maybe it's like it's just 100 more HP or like 300 more HP. It's like, does it change that much? Does it change that much? Hopefully not. Tell me, what would you do in my position? I have Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, End of Dragons, Soto, and the new expansion. Have few mounts. Would you complete the newest expansion first, or would you play chronologically? If you like story, play chronologically. If you want to get the newest action going on the fastest and don't care about story, I think going for the newest one as much when it's still alive is probably the safer bet. I would personally go for the newest one first if you don't care too much about story. Absolutely. Because it's more like, currently it's very active there, and maybe in a couple of months it's less active. Let's do that. Let's do some fractal. Let's play some... Oops. There we go. Let's play some Heal Alacrity Luminary. That's what we want to try out in fractals right now. Let's see how that goes. If they make Guild Wars 3 and I win Ancient 3, I won't be able to play it anymore because my PC won't be able to handle it. I mean, we have to see. It's just speculation. Maybe it will never be happening. Who knows? Just saying that could be on the tape. That really could. So what do I want? I want to be some... Where is it? There we go. That's what you want. You have the right setup. Yep. There we go. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. I'm not sure what it could be. I'm really like surprised that there are like that many stat differences. I have no clue what it could be. I really don't know. Yeah, I guess it could be a nerf. I guess it could be a nerf to just the stats that you get baseline from being like having the traits. Maybe, yeah. My issue is huge FPS drops on new content meta events. Yeah, I mean, the problem is like FPS in Guild Wars 2, I made a whole video about it, but if you have like character model very high, that drops your frames like crazy. If you have shadows nowadays on, sometimes it spikes quite like crazy. I don't know. It's like the new shadow tech makes it so that this looks really good. But as sometimes in some maps you have like crazy frame drops. That's why I disabled my shadows, because if I stream and I have like 20 FPS, my PC might crash just because I have shadows on, and then I turn them off and I have like 200 FPS. It's like really weird. So there are some settings that can help you making your FPS better, but I think Guild Wars 2 is very, very badly optimized for having big meta events with high graphics settings that you normally have like 200 FPS, but as soon as 50 people are on one spot, your FPS go to 30. It's really, really bad for that. That's just how Guild Wars 2 is somewhat like, just how it is, I guess. Yeah. They cannot fix that anymore. That's why a new game seems to be easier to fix that. Yeah. Welcome, Pupsi Mausi. Welcome, welcome. I'm actually not sure what I would like more, an updated engine for Guild Wars 2, a new game. Yeah, I think it's, I wouldn't mind. Either way, I would be happy. I just think they are definitely working on something big in the background. And I predict that in early 2026, they will let us know what is actually going on. That is my big prediction. Have you tried your X-Sword Luminary build for open world? Yes, so it's amazing. It's really, really good. I like it a lot, Bird and Rock. I like it a lot. It's really, really good. And I actually might want to do another video about it. Like, I have made an open world Luminary and it's really fun, but maybe another one is like what I should do. So I need some damage here, need some, what do I need? Stability? No, I need Condi Cleanse. Can I give some Condi Cleanse? I mean, I have the decent Condi Cleanse already. Like, I don't know. There's so much nice stuff that we could go here. I don't care. You have so much utility in the baseline kit on Luminary. It doesn't matter. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Buy better potato PC? Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. I need more, you know, I'm currently like full-time content creation is not making me rich, so maybe that's not the way to do it right now, to get a big crazy PC. But I mean, do you get like 200 FPS in a meta event? I mean, that is crazy. Then you have a really good PC if you get that, like with 50 people. Yeah, I think it's the engine mostly. It's mostly, for me, it seems to be the engine mostly that is the problem. Yeah, I mean, they could also do like a big update to Guild Wars 2. Maybe that's the unannounced project, but I think it seems to me like a really, really big update then. I'm not sure if they are actually doing that. I'm just saying that could be it, but I'm not sure if it's actually the case. Yeah. That is just what I wanted to mention here. That is my prediction. Some CC, some healing. It's a nice build. I like it. I like to play this heal luminary. It's very fun. A lot of utility. It feels like a firebrand with a little bit more down to the ground attacks and less positioning issues. I'm not using lossless scaling. You are playing the game wrong. I'm on max FPS with 50 people on Epoch. I still get 100. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm playing the game correctly. I don't care about my FPS too much. I might be one of the rare people that I would put my settings of my graphics to the minimum just to get the maximum amount of FPS, because I don't care about the graphics of a game if the gameplay is fun. I'm a gameplay enjoyer. That's the only thing that matters to me. So if the game looks good at it, perfect. If not, then I play it at a low setting. Yes, I could optimize it way more. Absolutely. Do I care about it? No. I definitely get your argument that you can make lossless scaling and everything work, but I think Guild Wars 2 base engines should just be improved and everyone would get more frames. You should not be forced to use like multiple third-party tools to get enough FPS. I think that is just baseline. That should not be the case. Yeah. I mean, complete rework and one big new expansion would be this many people as well. No for Guild Wars 3, to be honest. If you can just overhaul Guild Wars 2 big time. Yeah, I mean, if that works, if they can make an overhaul work, sure, I'm all up for it. But I'm just saying at this point, it looks like the engine limits them so much in putting out new content that I'm not sure if you can just port a game from one engine to another without the players noticing, yeah, or like negatively noticing. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's like something that they will do, they can do, whatever. Either way, I just hope for some update in early 2026 about what is actually going on. That is my big hope. That is my big hope. As it should, games should be fun first, then graphics. Nowadays, everyone is like, ooh, look at the graphics. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just my opinion. I know people have different opinions and stuff, but for me, it's like all about the gameplay. If the gameplay is fun, I'm all up for it. You know, if the gameplay is shit, I will never play the game. Even if the graphics are insanely good, I will not play the game. Just straight up. And that is like the case for a lot of the new games that come out. They focus so much on graphics that the gameplay loop, the combat, the snappiness of the gameplay feels just off or not there at all. So I personally think it's just like, I want to play a fun game. I want to play a game that is interesting, engaging, and if it looks good, even better. But if it doesn't, I don't care. You know, that's why so many people go back to Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, ESO, Elder Scrolls, like, how is it called? OSRS. There are so many people that just go back to the very old games because they have fun gameplay. Yes, they might not look as good as other games. Yes, that might be true. But it's still, oh my god, 12k hits on a healer. Okay. But yeah. That was so close. Holy moly. Our Scourge, like, completely, like, to the limit, living on the edge here. Also, I see a design flaw is the split between power and condition stats. I think Guild Wars 2 has a lot of stat issues. I personally think Guild Wars 2 has so many different stats, and coming from other games, I think Guild Wars 2 has too many stats for people to understand the game very easily. For me, as someone that is a veteran, that is very interested in playing the game and having build crafting going on, I think having a lot of stats is fun. But for someone that actually wants to play the game and getting into the game with all the stat combos is very confusing. Very, very confusing. So I think it's quite likely that if they will ever do a new game or whatever, it seems to me that it's probably quite reasonable to decrease the amount of different stats that you would have access to. Yep. Yes. The main issue of Guild Wars 2 engine is the CPU, not the graphics card. Exactly. It's limited by your single core performance of your CPU, which is horrible in modern days because everyone and their mother purchases the craziest new GPUs. Yeah. But the problem is that doesn't help you with the performance in Guild Wars 2. It might a little bit, but barely. It's really limited, bottlenecked by the CPU. And that's just like not a lot of gamers focus on having the best single core performing CPU. That's just like, just not there. Yeah. We lost a player. That's not good. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 should be the game that you go to if you don't have a perfect PC, if you like the open world aspect of it, and the new game should be focused on something completely different. Maybe my educated guess, maybe some hopes, would be that it would be somewhat similar to Warframe's system. Warframe is a multiplayer online game that focuses, in my opinion, way more on like having content that you can play with friends than having content that you actually need to play with friends. Some kind of solo instance-based content that you can play as a classic dungeon raid feeling, but you don't have to. That would be amazing. That is what I would guess, because that is not existing in Guild Wars 2 right now. Something like this could be existing as a separate game without dethroning Guild Wars 2 as a really, really good game. That is my very, very like speculative guess. Yeah. Yes, you really like this fractal. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think this fractal is quite boring, to be honest, but it's fine. What is your favorite spec for open world story content? That would be right now Quickness Evoker, like something like that. I really like to play some kind of quickness build. Quickness Evoker seems to be really fun right now. Do we die here? Yep. I hate this fractal. I really hate this fractal. You know, someone died and we have to restart and do the whole thing again. Like, what? It takes 10 minutes. Just like, let me do the mechanic. No, you know, someone died, group is dead. We have to reset. That is why I hate this fractal. It takes forever, and if someone dies in the last phase, we have to restart the whole fight. And I cannot change it. I cannot fix it. It was not my mistake. My one teammate died, we have to restart, 10 minutes lost. That's why I hate this fractal. There should be a recovery mechanic. I don't know, that if someone reacts fast enough, they can do it instead. It's just, it feels so punishing. And it happens so often in pack groups that someone dies in the last moment. It's really bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. I think the multi-stats are not a big problem for me, but I know that people criticized it a lot. So maybe that's something that they could fix in the future, for sure. Give some quickness. No, good. Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting if the new game is completely different than we all expect. If there is even a new game. Who knows? Maybe they announce in the beginning of like 2026 that they have some crazy ideas for Guild Wars 1, whatever, and they will just focus on creating a new Guild Wars 1 update or expansion or something, and that's the big unannounced project. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I mean, we lost the player because they jumped off the platform. I cannot out-heal this, sadly, Poopsie. If I could, I would. You know, they just jumped off the platform. It's like they did a suicide or something. That was that was sadly the issue there. It's not a very high KP group. It's 5k KP, so they probably don't know all the mechanics perfectly yet. You can clearly solo everything in Warframe. Some content could be done more challenging. Yeah, and I think that is a good design, that you can play it with friends and you can play it solo. A lot of people nowadays don't want to play a game that forces you to play like classic MMOs anymore. A lot of players want to play their games solo. And I think making a game that is focused around being able to be played solo, while also having Guild Wars 2 as the open world, massive MMO, I don't know. I think that would be a good combination. I think so. Might be not like for everybody, but I think you would make a game that is focused on that, and you have Guild Wars 2 and you cover a lot of ground, at least in my opinion. Yeah. Oh, come on, we get this. I really want to get some stuff done and don't like waste all my stream in this fractal here. Just get it done, please. Just don't die here, my friends. Just do the mechanics. So, oh, they took my chain. That's nice of them. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 has a very fair way of monetization, and I think Warframe has a very fair way as well. I know not all people agree, but I personally really like those two games, so I'm just mentioning them here as good examples. There are other good games. This is just what I really think is really smart and good. What is your main favorite class, by the way? I don't really have a main. Before the Visions of Eternity expansion, I played a lot of Mesmer, Chronomancer specifically. But after that, I play all of them, like, or before that even. For me, it's like I play all the different classes to have fun. If I would have to play a single class only, I would probably quit the game within like 2 weeks because I got bored of everything that I already did. For me, it's like always playing different builds, different classes every single time. You know, I play Icebrood Saga Strike missions every day. Once I play Evoker, once I play Ritualist, next time I play Chronomancer. You know, I'm just like to play stuff different every day. That is what I enjoy. That's why I don't really have a main in that regard. Let's get some food. Food, no food. Spreading first. There's the food. There it is. There we go. My teammate died. That's not good. I'm not even sure. Oh my god, the last minute save. Last second save, rather. Very good. Yeah, I mean, World vs. World is like completely untouched in the last few years. And I think they didn't get any like changes to the performance either. It's just like World vs. World, they left alone. And I think the big reason for that is that World vs. World was developed in the early days of Guild Wars 2's development. And a lot of the devs, maybe even all of them, that developed the original World vs. World, they are just not there anymore. They just are not working for ArenaNet anymore. So it's really hard to make someone that is like never experienced how to work with this specific game mode and the code behind it to make that work. And it's also quite outdated to some extent. So it's like they need to fix stuff that was done 10 years ago and they don't even know how to do it. So I think they are just very scared of doing it. That's the main issue. Yeah. And we get the rest, very good. Yeah, that's also very annoying Fractal because you have to spread and spread and spread and then my teammate dies. Oh my god. How are they dying left and right? It's just... I tried to heal them, you know, I tried to do it, but they are running like chicken around. I mean, we can get maybe... Okay, they are lagging. Okay, that's the reason why they are dying. Okay, I mean, then it's not my healing's fault, to be honest. I have a question. This game has a camera smoothing. I think how to disable it. There is a setting in the cameras. Camera, 1 second. I have to concentrate here first, otherwise my team might die again. Don't. No, don't run away from me. So there is a setting in the camera here, and then you can check those settings. I have this one, and it works very well for me. But if you have different settings, then you can maybe change that to my settings, and then you should have a smooth experience here. But that's what I would recommend as camera settings here. Those seem for me working the best. But try out different settings, and maybe you have something that works better for you. That is my camera setup. What is your favorite new Elite spec? From like just the raw design and how it's fun and stuff, I personally like Gale Shot a lot. I think it's really, really like good, well designed, and it works what it wants to be, and it works very well in all game modes. I think Evoker might be a little bit better right now because of the damage numbers, but in general, I think all of those two are my top tier picks. But I like a lot of them. I would say the one that I like the least is probably from a design perspective, like Antiquary, but even that one I like somewhat. Yeah, so I think that's fine. I think there are a lot of different specs that are fun, and I will probably change my opinion every now and then. So it will not stay like that, especially with the next balance patch. I will probably change to a different class because it will be hopefully better than before. Yeah, that is my hope. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the own company talks about their own spaghetti code, then you know there is something quite weird in the background. Absolutely. Yep, no CC at all. I will just do the mechanic, like, even though you don't have to do it in the last 10%, I will just do it now, because I fear that my people will get feared down That is my big issue here, so I will rather like do the mechanic and help them. Now CC again. And hopefully we get this this time. Come on, we should be able to get this. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like this is like a very inexperienced group. It's, yeah, again someone died to the eye mechanic. Not good. It's fine. We hopefully get the kill now. But this fractal is like horrible with inexperienced people. It's not hard at all. I think it's one of the easiest challenge modes. But it's like you cannot carry it. You know, there is no way, if you're a healer, DPS, whatever, if there is a person just always dying to mechanics, you cannot save them. They're just all one-shot mechanics. And that's just very painful for me as someone that wants to just play with random people and have fun. But typically I help them and carry them and get their stuff done. But if they just have to do their stuff alone, I cannot help them. It's impossible. That's the part there. Either way, we did it. Took a while, but we did it. Can you show your graphic settings? Yes. I mean, they are not those are my graphic settings, not the craziest, but they work. They work for me. And I just, you know, understand that I'm also streaming right now, so I want to have the best possible graphic without the risk of getting like big frame drops, without over like making my PC burn or something like that. That is why I have this setting. You could make, I personally like the shadows should be on ultra or high, but I really fear with the new shadow update, sometimes some maps I just get like insane frame drops. I don't know what happens there, but I just disable that for that reason. Yeah. That was me earlier today. I went down 2 times and died once doing this fractal today because I'm horrible at it. I mean, it's fine, you know, if you recognize that you did a mistake and you try to get better, it's completely fine. I just think it's very, very sad if we have a group that says they are experienced, they know exactly what they are doing, and they still die 3 times, even more often in this fractal. I think that is annoying me, because then just say, I'm new, can you give me a try, or please bear with me. But if they say I'm experienced, I know exactly what I'm doing, I don't know. That just feels wrong. Could you open the chest received? So you mean this one? Those fractal chests, or what do you exactly mean? I'm not completely sure. Thanks a lot, Andy Mion. Thanks a lot, really appreciate it. Thanks for the 10 gifted subs. People that got them, please say thanks to Andy Mion. Thanks a lot, really appreciate the support. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Thanks a lot. Really, really appreciate it. I mean, your playing guide was too. Your YouTube and your explanation helped a lot. Glad to hear that. You know, that's my goal. You know, I want to get more people, especially new people, in the game and hopefully improve their gameplay and have more fun with it. That is my big goal here. And I think I tried to do a good job. And if you have any ideas, any video ideas, whatever you want, let me know. Maybe if it's not covered already, it's a good idea maybe to cover it. Let me know. Let me know. So, let's see. We need some CC after this fractal as well. Or like in the night phase, rather. So, let's see if we have enough CC for that. Or if my party is like just like ignoring and just DPSing. I mean, we have a rather good setup for the Condi bosses, I would say. Most people just say, but we killed. What's the problem? Exactly. I think for me as a player, you see what is going on with this group. They are so greedy. Now we have the air phase as well. I mean, I think that's a GG actually. If we don't get the phase. That's painful. That's painful. Very painful. I mean, we should just CG at this point. Yeah. They killed each other. That was painful. Very painful. And the thing that pisses me, when, for example, we try and make chill run for raids and people just don't want to do cannons and they just stand there not even asking. Yeah, I think personally, I think that's a big problem. I think in Guild Wars 2, a lot of people pretend to know stuff and pretend to do stuff or to exactly to understand what's going on. Like cannons are better. You join a group with 250 KP and there are still people saying like, who wants to do cannons? And then the answer is like silence. What? Like, does that mean they just don't want to do cannons? Or more likely, they just don't know how to do it? So I think it's a really big problem in Guild Wars 2 is that a lot of people just get the stuff done because you get the kill. You know, it's easy to get the kill. But understanding the boss and what you need to do to actually get all the mechanics down and right, it's like most people don't care about it. And you have people that played Veil Guardian and killed it 10, even 100 times and never in their life tanked the boss and don't know how to move the tank. I think that's crazy to me because like it's not, you want to understand the boss to get better at it, to actually get stuff without having to like rely on your allies. But maybe that's just me. Either way, I think it's not fair to say to someone that is looking for a party member that is experienced and then join a group that says I want to be experienced, or like they say we need experienced players. That's what I mean. And someone joins, pretends they are experienced but don't know how to do cannons. I think that is just toxic. That is toxic behavior to me. Might be hot take, but I think if you just tell them, I know what I'm doing, I never did cannons though, I think that is way more honest and way better for the health of the game than joining a group without saying anything. I really think so. Like, absolutely. We lost another one. Not good. What are they doing? What's going on? I don't even know anymore. Just wanted to know your thoughts on PvP Legendary. I think the PvP Legendary is one of the most straightforward Legendary stuff to acquire. I personally think it needs a lot of tickets and it's a little bit annoying for some people that don't like PvP, but I personally think it's okay. It's not too bad. I think it was one of my first Legendaries that I crafted after it came out. Yeah, Evoker 0cc. That is a classic Evoker. Classic Evoker. That's just how it's designed. I think it's okay. If we have a Scourge and the Virtuoso, they have a lot of CC. So if they use it, that's okay. If at least the Evokers are doing damage, you know. I just don't want to... Come on here. Come here. Come here. Yeah, I mean... Classic. Yeah, we lose this player, I guess. I cannot rest them if the portal is there and they are dying there. We can move there though. Oh my god. That's a scuffed run. I cannot rest them. I actually pressing F, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I don't know why. Now it works. Okay, I guess they are lagging like crazy. Interesting. I mean, salvaged somewhat? What is this? This is like a scuffed group, if I have ever seen one. It's fine. It's fine. If we get them, I mean, I'm happy. I'm not flaming, just saying it's not the most ideal setup here. That much is for sure. Exactly. You will eventually know all the mechanics. You just have to try to get better at it. You should not say, I got the kill, I don't care what happened. You should try to get better at stuff. I think that is like how you improve at stuff. Just trying to get better. You know, you don't have to know everything. You just have to slowly get better and understand what you did wrong, how you can get better. I think that is how you should do it. Sometimes even telling that there is timer on Google for that mechanic would help new players into Ray. That's true, it's true. So, now the dark phase, now we need a lot of CC. I think that should be fine, we have a lot of GG. Hello? Thanks. To be fair, if the group is lacking CC and the guard is not even using his sanctuary, do the group really lack CC? That is true. That is true. I mean, the thing is, we did not. The problem why we died here was not because of the CC. You know, they had no damage. We could have faced it, and they just died. That's either way, it's fine. You know, the CC we need now, and I have Sanctuary equipped, so we should be fine. We should be fine. I have a lot of CC now. It's fine. Main reason I love Guild Wars 2 is the meta, so you can solo and just jump in with randoms. Exactly. I think Guild Wars 2 is made for being played as a solo MMO. Guild Wars 2 is nowadays the game that is perfect for people that just want to have the MMO experience of having other players around without being forced into some kind of static or try-hard environment. Yeah, that is what Guild Wars 2 is all about. So I personally think it's quite... We're missing someone. But okay. That is what Guild Wars 2 is all about. So let's do that. I will save my CC. I will not CC insta CC here because I highly doubt that my party will actually get that stuff, the damage. So let's spread and then be ready for the CC afterwards. Ugh. How did they get hit? Okay, let's provide this and some healing. Should be fine. Now move to the middle. CC. Okay. I guess not. I guess not. We were not in time. I really hope that someone else would CC. It's fine. We have a Tempest now. That's actually good. That's more CC than before. Still not good though. Still not good. But at least no one died. You know, I'm happy if no one dies. You know, I'm the healer after all. If I can't keep them alive, it's probably my fault in this fractal at least. So where's the Sorrow? Here it is. Some CC down. Give me the Sanctuary, please. And move out and get more CC. Very good. That will be hopefully the last time we have to do this fractal for now. Because I don't want to repeat every single challenge mode fractal today. What I hate about Guild Wars 2 is a new player. Veterans disguise themselves as knowledgeable and don't know the mechanics. Exactly, you know, if you're a new player and say I'm new, then you are probably more honest than a lot of the veteran players that join groups and just don't know what to do either way. So yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Where is the people dying? Yeah, okay. Oh my god. Got the rest, that's good. CC, please. Oh my god, can someone else CC? That was like, they are just like letting me CC everything. It's just sad. It's fine. We need the, now we don't have Sanctuary for the Sorrow. That's a little bit sad though. But it's okay, I guess. I can do it, I think, alone as well here. Yeah, we got this one and I have the... Oh, that was so close. It's fine. We got it in the end. That was just painful. It's fine. It's fine. Sorry, I will catch up in chat after this. I just don't want to grieve my group here because it seems like I have to concentrate. Otherwise, we will not get the CC here. Yeah. Again. Get this CC here on this thing. Oh, that was so close again. This is a scuffed run if I've ever seen one. And yes, I'm not playing perfectly. I just want to mention it. I'm not playing perfectly for sure. But my group is also like dying left and right and getting hit by all the lasers and stuff. And not CCing. That's the big issue for this one. For sure, it's fine. You can see how power crap the game is. You know, if the fractal came out, this was one of the biggest issues in the fractal. Like if you did not have CC, you would die. But now it's just the healing output, the boon output, the damage output. It doesn't matter. It's just so forgiving nowadays. And that's good. I mean, fractals need to be accessible because otherwise challenge modes will not be done. Yeah. I want non-fractal punishments for them. Because they will just go for World Boss after for 6 hours after. Yeah, that is true. That is somewhat true. Great content and thanks for the explanations. Always happy to help. Always happy to help. But yeah, if you have any questions here in chat, just ask. You know, I'm always trying to help. And if I missed some comment, some question, just say it again. Sometimes I have to concentrate to the game. You know, you see it. Sometimes I have to concentrate after all. But it's fine. Is there a certain class build that is more versatile for fractals? So I would say the best support build in versatility is Chronomancer right now for support. And for DPS, I would say probably playing like Amalgam, Gale Shot, Scrapper, those are like top tier picks. Soul Beast, Dragon Hunter are really good in power fractals. Those would be my top tier picks, I would say. Yeah, Spectre is really good for like Spectre. Support is also very, very flexible. People really underestimate how good Spectre is. The thing is, Spectre is only good as a big support. If you want to play Spectre as a DPS build, it's only good in the Condi fights. In power-based fights, like in the fractals that we will get to now, with like, for example, Shattered Observatory, Nightmare Fractal and stuff like that, Spectre is just, it's just not good. The damage profile is too slow to ramp up to the maximum damage, so it's like just not the best option. But for a support build, yes, it's good. Moving out of the one-shot mechanics lowers my DPS. Exactly. That's the problem. Yeah. If people are greeding too much for DPS, then they will die. And I cannot out-heal one-shot mechanics. That's just not how it works in Guild Wars 2. So I think in Guild Wars 2, a lot of DPS players think they are god-tier DPS players, but in the end, they are not, and they just wipe the group by doing stuff like that. So there might be some people in chat that are extremely strong, yeah, and know to deal 50k DPS in the opener and stuff like that, in fractal fights as well. Sure, but most pack groups people greed for DPS even though they don't have the highest numbers, and then they don't get any value from standing in one-shot mechanics either way. Yeah, that's just how it goes. We have to CC this thing. There we go. This is not Syrma, this is an AI clone? No, don't worry. I'm still me. For DPS, Boon DPS, go Engineer. For Boon Heal, go Mesmer. Yep, something like that. Random question, what's a good damage build for Elementalist Zerg for World vs. World? I would say you can play like a Staff. Weaver is really good, like full DPS build, or a Staff Catalyst is really good, or Staff Evoker. If you want, you can replace the Staff with a Spear, which is also fine. However, Spear has the issue, or not issue, but has the, like, let's say the fact that it's a lot of its damage, or some of its damage is projectile based, which is a little bit annoying in a heavy reflect meta, like World vs. World is. So typically I would say Staff is the superior choice for DPS Elementalist, but you can play, I have a video about it on my YouTube channel, Staff DPS Weaver. You can play also Catalyst, which is almost the same, but with Catalyst instead of Weaver. And Evoker works very well as well. You can even play a low intensity Air Evoker that we posted earlier here in chat, and maybe I will make a video about it as well. It's just, there are so many flexibilities for Elementalist as a DPS in Zergs. It's not like the best, absolute craziest DPS. It's like Amalgam is typically better, for example, or stuff like that. But if you know what you're doing, it can be very fun and very, like, performing, yeah. Thanks, Saro. Thanks, really appreciate it. That's good to hear. More to come. That DPS is no DPS. Exactly, you know. Just better play it safe. Better keep the damage up than just greeding for DPS and dying. That will be less DPS in the end. For sure. This is another thing I would like to see. More harder content, like more settings, because some of the CMs are just too easy. I would like more steps. Yeah, I think that is a big problem. We have some quite hard legendary challenge modes in Guild Wars 2. And we have the normal modes, which are very easy. But there is almost no middle ground. And the challenge modes, I would say, are also somewhat like... Where is the... The Ritualist is dying. How can a Ritualist die? I never saw a Ritualist die before. It's crazy. Let's block the projectiles here and we should be able to do this. There we go. Yeah, I hope we get more difficulty scaling. Like an easy mode, normal mode, challenge mode, legendary challenge mode. That would be awesome. But the quick play should add that. To be honest. That is my hope there. So let's see if we can like get this without dying. I'm not sure. My teammates seem to be like not that aware. Hopefully, this is again one-shot mechanics. So I expect at least like 3 people dying. Huh? I mean, over the course of the whole fight. So we will have to see. We will have to see if that's happening or not. This is a little bit of like a just a like visual clutter check. You know, there's so much stuff happening on the screen, but if you sidestep that stuff, you should be fine. You should be fine. So, I mean, the DPS is decent, to be honest. The group's DPS is okay, at least in this fight here. I think it's okay. No one died yet. I mean, I'm happy. You know, that seems to be like an easier fractal for those people. That's good. Very nice. CC incoming. Get ready for it. Break the thing. And get more CC. There we go. Good CC. Everyone does CC. It's good. I like it. Yeah, Hammer Catalyst is a really fun one. I think Hammer Catalyst is really fun. I would not play it in a Cirque though. Okay, how many people die? No one dies. Very good. Like it, like it, like it. The agony is a little bit annoying here for the healers, especially if you don't have enough barrier access. Can we get the rest here? Oh, there we go. Some stability, I guess. I mean, I know a lot about Guild Wars 2. I played a lot of Guild Wars 2. That's why I know so much. But I think I'm still learning. Every single day I play Guild Wars 2, I'm still learning the game. There's still something new to come. So I think that's what the beauty of Guild Wars 2. And I think a lot of big games have that. You know, if I would start like World of Warcraft tryharding, I would take years to get to a point where I'm in Guild Wars 2 right now. But I would also probably never be done with like learning. That's just the beauty of really, really old and big games. There is so much to learn, which can be a downfall for some people if you don't want to learn. But I personally think it's really nice. You just have always something that you can improve on. I really like this idea. So we should be like completely fine here. That was a very smooth run of this like fractal. I did not expect it with this group, but I'm done. Very good. It's fine. It's fine, Snowbleach. Always happy to have some jokes in the chat. Imagine his team being viewers and they hear Syrma trashing him. No, I don't want... That's the important part. I want to be very... I don't flame them. I'm just stating the facts that they seem to not be aware of all the mechanics. That's just like stating the facts. If they are viewers, no problem, you know. And if they are not viewers, as well, no problem. I just want to say, yeah, I never flame anybody. I just want to say it seems like they don't know the mechanics. And I think that is pretty accurate, I would say. But for this fractal, it was completely fine. Now we have even a blade zone. That's crazy. Crazy cooking here. For someone that only has time to focus on one profession, PvE, casual, PvP, would you sooner recommend Guardian or Necromancer for fun factor? I would say, personally, Necromancer right now seems a little bit better and more flexible, because Guardian in PvP is like support. You play a support luminary or you play like a bruiser build, but I personally would say I don't know, both of them are amazing. Wait, we have to do the pre-stacking. Always forget that I'm the pre-stacking guy. There we go, now we can. But yeah, I think both of them are amazing. I personally would say for casual PvP, Guardian is harder to play than, for example, I personally think Reaper is easier, or Ritualist, they are easier to play in most situations. Why do we not CC? There we go. But I don't know. I feel like choose the class that you like. Both of them are really, really flexible, have a lot of crazy good builds. You should probably be fine either way. Yeah. I just moved from ArenaNet client to Steam, planning to use level 80 boost between Scourge, Firebrand, and Mirage. Which one is good for most contents with Celestial Gear? They are all decent with Celestial Gear. I would say Mirage is the worst of them. I think Firebrand is the hardest of them, and Scourge is probably the most flexible of them. I think Firebrand is really good if you know what you're doing, but for a new player, I think it's way better to go with Scourge. Scourge is very, very good as a new player because it's forgiving. It has a lot of value for the team and has a lot of damage. It's just overall a very, very good pick. Yeah. I think Scourge might be the best one out of those. Yeah. So, thanks for the kind words, Patricia and Snow. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So, hopefully I have to concentrate a bit more sometimes here because I really want to keep up the stability here. So I don't want to grieve my group by not providing perma stability. You know, that would be like crazy. Not having perma stability in 2025. Not good. What add-on do you use to show FPS beside the ping? That is ArcDPS. That's a specific. It's not an add-on in ArcDPS. It's just ArcDPS is the add-on that shows my DPS here on the left, and I have the same. I use the same add-on for showing my FPS and my ping here, which is obviously really nice because that's the same as the in-game thing. You can see it here as well, the FPS and the ping, but it's more annoying to open your settings. So it's obviously way better to have something that also shows it just a little bit smaller and without much annoyance. Yeah, so it's an ArcDPS setting. You can activate it via the ArcDPS settings. Got no CC down. It's okay. Standing inside the hitbox. That's a little bit problematic, but it's fine. We got it. Very good. So ArcDPS, I can show it. This is the settings, and then I have here the metrics. This is the metrics. If you want to know more about ArcDPS, because that's a very, like, I would say confusing, but there are a lot of settings here and stuff. I have a full ArcDPS setup guide to make it look like I do, to have the metrics set up, to have the extras, for example, that you have the extensions, for example, wound table, healing stats, and that stuff. That is all covered in my YouTube guide about ArcDPS. But yes, it's called the metrics window. Yes. Yeah, Alacrity Heal Scourge Celestial is so good. So much damage, and it's really good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was a really smooth run. I was like surprised that we like in the beginning it looked like horrible. 99 CM looked like crazy bad, but now they're like completely like we don't care. Like we actually know what we are doing. You know, I'm happy. You know, that's even better. I like to see them go back to older content, make strikes for them. Oh, that would be so good. Like a Saitan strike mission. Oh, yes. I mean, I'm not sure if people would really like to play that, but that is definitely like, that would help making the old content somewhat like reused for sure. You know, I think one of the big issues is that we have a lot of newer stuff in fractals, in raids, in strike missions, but the old content we have nowhere, like the Saitan fight or like the Mordrumor fight. Stuff like that would be so cool as a fractal with completely reworked mechanics, obviously, but who knows, that would be really cool. I would like that. I would like that. Yeah, stability is like, if you provide perma stability, your DPS players just ignore most of the mechanics, if not all of them, and you will be done. You know, that's like Guild Wars 2 nowadays in a nutshell. It's like, if you are a support that provides perma stability, your DPS players just don't have to care anymore. They can do whatever the hell they want, and they will probably have good DPS. That's the difference between like nowadays support and support like 6 years ago. Support 6 years ago, like you provided maybe might, maybe provided quickness and alacrity or something like that. And that's about it. Nowadays, you provide every single boon and perma stability and everything. So it's like, that's what we do, I guess. We have no reflect, I just noticed. That's fine, we will do it like that. Ooh. How did 2 people die? That's interesting. One of them had the bomb, that much is for sure, but how did the other person die? Very interesting. I have no clue. No clue. I need some more CC here. Nice, there we go. It's the first. And another one here, I guess. There we go. Another one. What do you expect from the upcoming new Elite Specs balance patch? I expect just a lot of damage nerfs. I don't see any big reworks or something. I just expect like crazy amount of crazy amount of damage number nerfs. Like cooldown nerfs, damage number nerfs, that's about it. I don't expect like crazy reworks or trade changes or shuffles or something like that. I think it's a number balance patch. It will change how much DPS all of the specs do. I would say they change maybe the cooldowns so that some things are not as like spammy. But I don't expect anything else than that. So if you don't like the design of Antiquary, I don't see how Antiquary is getting like completely reworked, for example. Just one example.
Don't try this yourself. It's extremely dangerous.
Okay. Dodging is a DPS loss? Yes, it's true. I mean, I should have gone for more H's. Why is this? Got the res, I guess. This is like, why is this so scuffed and the previous fight was like completely clean? It's crazy. It's so insane. I provide H's here. That's good enough, but they still got hit somehow. By something at least. Stability. Yeah, I mean, you can carry this fight very hard with support. That's the good part. I should have brought some reflect as well. You know, I expected, but it's fine. It's fine. We got the DPS now. Very good. A real side-on fight would be amazing instead of snoozing by cannon for 2 minutes and kill him. Yeah, I agree. Is reflect really needed? I would say it's not needed. It's not needed. That's why I was not like actively going for it, because if it's absolutely needed, I would swap. But for now, I think it's not absolutely needed. I mean, I could bring it here just in case, because people just tend to not do it like correctly. It's fine. I guess they want to go before I do my pre-stack. That's fine, I guess, but okay. Let's see if someone does the anomaly. It looks like they are ignoring the anomaly. That is not good. Yo, that's not good. Classic. I mean, typically the offensive supporter should do the anomaly. Just for the people that are not aware here. If you're an offensive supporter, so I'm alacrity heal, so that means the quick DPS, I don't know who that is, probably the Scourge, the Ritualist, should be doing the anomaly here and kill the mob, so that we actually just do the fight as usual and just lose as minimal of damage as possible. Yo, was apparently not the case. That's how it goes, I guess. We have lost our second life, so we have to hopefully this time get the anomaly. I mean, this time we got it, but I think it was not the person responsible for it. I'm pretty sure it was the Bladestone that did it. Not good, not good. It's worth, but even if you don't have a reflect, you can push it. That's true. Absolutely. I think nowadays, like, fractals are so flexible what you can do. You don't have to have the specific setup all the time, you know? I could even play here full Celestial and could be fine. I mean, that was a little bit weird push, but okay. And, you know, this might not be the group to play full Celestial though, but in general, it's like Guild Wars 2 is very forgiving nowadays with the power level of stuff, so you don't have to have a reflect. It's more important that you actually understand what is happening. So provide some stability. Very good. Second to last phase here, that's good. Oh, that was a interesting split. Okay, we got it. Get some healing out. Started as a Herald for Guild Wars 2, actually not that good to learn mechanics. I was able to ignore loader and deal no damage. Yeah, I think it's like the problem with playing an easy build like Herald or stuff like that is like you can ignore a lot of stuff. And that doesn't teach you the game. So oftentimes it can be more useful to start with a class like Weaver where you cannot ignore any mechanics. but you will understand how they are, but it's harder to get into. So there is always some kind of disadvantage of doing that or doing that. So I personally would say, choose the class that you like. If it's an easy class, go with it and just accept that at some point you have to learn the mechanics still. If it's a hard class to learn because it's very punishing and has a low health pool and stuff, then accept that at some point you have to like have a hard time to get into it, but you will at some point get way better at it because you actually learned it on the hardest way possible. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, packs are always like this is an adventure. You know, I'm streaming my adventure here. It's sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not that fun. I would say the 99 CM was quite unfun, but now it's getting better. Now it's not as chaotic as it was before, which is good. I think like a little bit of chaos is fine, but having like a group that dies left and right and we have to reset all the time, that is not fine. Yeah. Have I changed it? What did I use to reflect on arc? Only feedback and Firebrand with 3? Yeah, I mean that's completely fine. If you have Firebrand reflect, that's fine. But I'm luminary, so I don't have the reset, the tome. That's how it's called. So I have to use my reflect, or if I want to reflect, I need to use wall of reflection or stuff like that. But for now, I think it's not necessary nowadays anymore to have a reflect. A deflect is fine enough. And I have shield, I have like my blocks. If I jump up, I can also block those projectiles. There are a lot of ways to do it. That's the cool part about like the mechanics. It's not like you have to do mechanics in a certain way. If you have a reflect or a deflect, that's fine enough. So let's go. Just want to have some like protection stuff up before we go into fight. And do we have H's? I think we should, but let's better safe than sorry. Give it again. CC the boss. And yep, there we go. That was a decent burst. I mean, we have a Bladestorm. That's already promising. I always notice when I play with Bladestorms in PvE, it's quite likely that those people are actually very good at the game, because Bladestorm is a very underrated class as a DPS. In Guild Wars 2 PvE specifically. I think not a lot of people play it. And the people that actually play it actually know a lot about it. So you can see the Bladestorm is completely out DPSing the new specs, even though the new specs have way higher benchmarks. But this is obviously a power fight, so you should not play a Condi build. And Evoker, Inferno Evoker is somewhat a Condi build. It has to be said here. They're just face tanking everything. Okay, I mean, the Bladestorm has to do that to some extent. Can we get the rest here, please? That was costing me a lot of my utility, but that's okay. We got the save. The healing skill is so good. Like, it heals like almost half of their, like probably half of their life. Get the stability out. Very good. You can skip reflect on arc by using the special ability. Yeah, I know. I'm always doing that, but you can, if you don't know if your party is actually good enough to do that, you can be safe and give stability and do the reflect so that you negate most of the damage. That is like what I'm doing. So I'm doing the special action key, and because I don't trust my pack groups, I just always play it safe and bring a reflect there as well. You know, that's the reason. Not because I don't know the mechanic with the special action key, it's just like maybe there's a player in the group that doesn't know it. And then I am safe with that. That's the idea. Okay. So, in my opinion, the quality of CM groups is much lower than it used to be. Yeah, because the problem is the quality of CM groups is lower because you have way more broken classes and design. And it's just a lot of times you can get the clears without actually understanding most of the mechanics. In previous days, it was so if you did not have a good group, you would not be able to clear the fight because only a good group would know the mechanics and survive. If you now play CMs, you can just brute force it with the crazy overpowered healers, crazy overpowered DPS, and that stuff gets you the kill at some point. And people often have the mindset of saying, okay, I got the kill. What more do I want? I don't need to understand every single mechanic in the fight if I actually get the kills. So that's why the quality seems to be going down in CM groups, because a lot of people get the kills without understanding the fight, because the just overall power level increases and carries people somewhat with brute force through the fight. That is what I experience. And I noticed the same in raids as well. Like if you would look at, for example, I don't know, Kadim 1, where it's very mechanically heavy, a lot of times the DPS players don't know anything about the fight. They just deal enough damage so that they get the kill. And that is a problem to some extent, I would say. I think it's fine if people get kills and stuff. And that is I mean, to kite them out here. If oh my god. Can we? No, I think we have to GG here. I cannot cap this on my own. Ah, classic. Classic. The altars are too hard. But yeah, I mean, that's just my point, yeah. Is Condi Willbender too easy? No, I wouldn't say it's too easy. Condi Willbender is very spammy. It's a very, like, easy to get into class. It's a hard to master class. And I think that's how it should be. So I think Condi Willbender is a decent, like, difficulty level for what it does. I would say so. There's also the issue that many pucks are off the game and use Discord LFGs, reducing the overall chance for higher quality pucks. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 has a big issue with, like, the LFG being not as, how can I say, it's active. If you're looking for a fractal group right now, it's active. You know, there are some people looking for it. But if you're looking, for example, for raids, if you're looking for even dungeons or something, if you want to have really good people, they are typically not in the LFG. They are in their own bubble. And that is not a nice thing for new players to get into. So you have a completely different experience. And I really hope that with the core feature update that we will get in February, coming next year, that this will not only provide with the quick play feature and the raid and strike mission merge, but hopefully also an LFG rework. I really hope so. That would be my big hope. I don't know if that's the case, but I really hope so. Yeah. I think that the problem is, like, if the LFG stays like it is, I think there will never be any change to the quality of the puck scene. But if the LFG gets improved, maybe with the quick play feature, maybe with something else, maybe with, I don't know. I'm not the developer. I don't have to come up with solutions. I can just say what I think should be improved. If that would be improved, then why are we all GG? What? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They wanted to precast the fiery greatsword, I guess. That's fine. Give some boons out, I guess, and let's go. I think it's too late to improve the LFG system when players already have moved to secondary sources. That could be true, you know, but I think that should not, like, completely say, no, we leave it like it is. I think if it's still worth improving, then they should do it. Yes, it might not be as good as just bringing it out at this, like, the beginning already perfect. Sure, I think that is a completely fair statement to make. But I think we cannot go back in time and say to make it perfect. That's just not how it works. So I personally would say it's better late than never. Yeah, that is the saying. And I think that is true here as well. You know, I want a better LFG, even though it would be perfect if they would have done it perfect in the beginning. Sure. But I think that's true for almost everything that they improve. Like every single quality of life feature that they will add, hopefully a lot, with the patch coming in February, which is the, so to say, core feature update. I just hope there will be a lot of core features that will improve the game, because I think core features is what new players actually attract or keeps them playing. It's not new content. New content is for veterans. I think if the core features are good, people will keep playing the game, new people. And that's what Guild Wars 2 needs. It's not necessarily something that new players will never encounter until they are done with 10 years of content. No, I think it's something that they will encounter directly. And that's something, for example, the LFG. Absolutely. Yes, it will not bring back the old people that are already using Discord and other third-party tools. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. But I think that's already too late for that. And I think there are already a lot of like veterans being not as excited about like the game anymore as it once was. I think the veteran scene is shrinking, and that's a little bit sad, but that's just the follow-up problem of not bringing out crazy amounts of new content anymore. And that is okay. For a new player, that should not worry you, at least too much. But for a veteran, it's obviously quite sad that this is happening. You know, in like, let's say 5 years, 10 years ago, to find a really experienced group for raids and stuff and stick with them was way easier than it is now. Because just a lot of players did not play the game for that many years yet. And that is fine and it's really good, but it's really sad for me. I can count the amount of friends that I still have in the game that played the game since I started playing on one hand. It's not a lot, I can tell you that. It's just like the life cycle of a game, I guess. So I hope we get some big buffs, big changes to stuff that makes maybe bring them back, maybe just make new players stick around for that time. Maybe in 10 years in the future, I will be happy that they made those changes. Who knows? Either way, I hope more quality of life changes. Can't hurt the game, I would say. Can't hurt them. It also integrates secondary sources, more effort, different implementation. Sure. If that's what they want to do, sure, I'm all up for that. I'm not the developer. I can just like say that again. I'm not the developer, so I don't have to come up with the solution here. Oh my god. I just have to like say what I think should be improved, and then hopefully they go from there. But I agree, secondary sources like Arc DPS make it more baseline, maybe help make it in the game directly. Who knows? I mean, if that is the way to do it for them, sure. There we go. Give some might out, hopefully. There we go. It would help a lot, like the issue it is to be a command. Yeah, the commander issue is a big problem as well. Like commanding in Guild Wars 2 is like, I think I made a whole video about this, like 10 minutes talking just about commanding and why it needs to be like addressed to some extent. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2, that is weird. That was very weird. It just skipped the attack completely. Okay, I guess. But yeah, commanding is an issue. They need to address it. I don't know how, but they need to address it as well. But like 95% of the player base never touched raids and CM, so in theory it should be possible to improve LFG with quick play and matchmaker if done correctly. Absolutely awesome. I think that's the case. Yeah, it really is. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Want your opinion on an issue of mine in Guild Wars 2? I find the style and theme of this fantasy world, I do enjoy it. What it kills me is these Fortnite skins, mounts. Do you think there should be sliders on customization? Oh, that is a topic that is like big, really, really big. So in Guild Wars 2, it is a fantasy world. And there are nowadays mount skins and like weapon skins and stuff like that that look like completely futuristic, like almost from a science fiction based game or something, not fantasy anymore. And for me as a content creator that is mostly focused around gameplay, I don't care. You know, if I don't want to have that skin, I don't use it. But I know a lot of people like you say this is not fitting in a fantasy world. However, I would say Guild Wars 2 always had, I wouldn't say the tendency, but it always had somewhat of the science fiction aspect in it, because the Asura were always somewhat like the guys with the technology and like the magitech and the portals and stuff. So it always existed a little bit, but going like all out on like hovercrafts instead of the skimmer or something like that is probably a bit too much in this direction. I personally think a slider would be awesome to make that happen, that you can say, I just don't want to see those skins and they want to get a standard for that. But I'm not sure if they are capable of that technology-wise. If they have a technology that can make it so that you actually can disable skins of other players or make them look different for mount skins, for weapon skins like that. I think standard models, yes, but I'm not sure if you wanted standard models only. I don't know. Either way, I think that would be awesome if they could introduce it. I'm not sure if they can, but if they could, that would be really, really good. Yeah. Welcome, Steve. Welcome. Just wanted to give you a quick thank you for build guides. I have problems with the motoric of my hands, and with your low intensity builds, I finally able to play CMs and all the contests with my group. Perfect. Glad to hear that. Yeah. Always happy to help. More coming up very, very soon. Yeah. If Guild Wars 3 comes out, You think it would be the throne of MMOs? I mean, if it would be an MMO and if they do it right, I think they can claim that, yeah. I think it's very hard to compete as a new MMO against MMOs that are already over 10 years old because they have so much content. How can you make a new game that has the similar amount of content while still being new and is somewhat fun to play as well? I think that's just an impossible challenge. However, if a company can do it, I think ArenaNet might be the one, because ArenaNet pulled off the only thing that has ever been done, like in terms of making a sequel to an MMO. Guild Wars 1 was a really good game, and they decided to make a second game, and they did manage it. The second game is more popular than the first. So I think if any company can pull off a sequel to an MMO, I think it's ArenaNet. Does that mean they can do it? We will have to see in the future. Maybe this ages like horribly, but for now, I think it's possible. Yeah. New player here. I have only one Ascended set, which is Berserker Light Armor. I'm getting a little bit bored of Reaper. What fun other Light Armor class builds do you recommend me trying out? I would say right now Evoker is really good with Berserker gear as well. I would say, like, in general, like Power Chronomancer is really, really good, really flexible. You can play Quickness DPS, Alacrity DPS, and it's just really, really strong. I would say that's a very good, solid pick as well. Yeah. Yeah, I guess with coming back to the things that you could disable skins, I think it seems a little bit like counterintuitive for their microtransaction. They want to have you see the microtransactions for others, but I guess if it's just for others and you could disable it, I think that would not hurt anybody. Yeah. Power Virtuoso, obviously. Yeah. Power Virtuoso is really, really good. Good point. I think Power Virtuoso might be the best pick up there for you. Safe, easy, and strong. Yeah. Yeah, basic models. Yeah, that works. I miss GVG. There's nothing like that in the game ever. I mean, there was GVG, but the scene died over slowly. It still exists somewhat, but it's very, very small scene. So I really hope that whatever they do in the future, hopefully that will involve some kind of like guild content. I think that's a little bit missing in Guild Wars 2. Like any incentive of making PvE, PvP guild content is like almost non-existent nowadays. It's a little bit sad, you know. It's after all called Guild Wars, and there is not a lot of incentive to interact with your guild. It's more like a glorified chat room anymore. That's just how it is. And that feels a little bit sad, because after all, it's like you're still playing an MMO, you know. You want to interact with others. If you wouldn't want to interact with anyone, then you would probably play an RPG or something. That's my opinion. I'd love to see a video from you on Power Spear Antiquary. Yeah, I mean, that is on my radar, but I have to say I'm not a good Antiquary player. I have to train a lot for that before I make this video, because I don't want to make a video about something that I cannot showcase that well. So I will try to make it work, but I can't promise you a date yet. Yeah. How's Sword Reaper? I mean, Reaper is typically, you can play Sword on Necromancer, but in PvE, Sword is just not all, it's like always a lower DPS than you would, for example, have with Spear Greatsword or any Condi-based weapon. So it's like, Necromancer swords are more like a mobility utility kit, and therefore doesn't have the highest damage. And Reaper can only be played as a DPS pick, so typically swords is more preference than it is actually the best in slot DPS option. That's okay. Not every weapon has to be the best DPS. Just wanted to mention it here. If you're looking for the best in slot meta build, Reaper typically doesn't use swords. Yeah. Is Generation 1 Legendaries crafting still profitable? Yeah, I mean, they are still profitable, but it's not as profitable as Generation 3. And the most profitable right now is going for the new Spear Staff hybrid. But in general, like, Generation 1 is very, very cheap nowadays. It's profitable, yes, but not like insane value. Yeah. Yeah. Iscarel has amazing videos about Antiquary. I would probably never be able to pull off content somewhat close to that. So if you like Antiquary or Thief in general, check out Iscarel's channel. Yeah, good point, good point. How is the current state of World versus World in EU? I feel like in A is way more bunkier meta. Roaming is almost non-existent, mostly blobs from 40 plus moving around the map. I think it's heavily depending on what kind of server you're on or like match currently. I personally notice decent amount of roaming right now on my server that I'm on. but I think it's more focused towards like big, large-scale groups. I agree. That seems to be the case. And I think roaming right now seems to be like either you're playing an absolutely crazy, squishy Berserker one-shot build, or you're playing a full tanky Trailblazer Celestial setup. That's a little bit sad. That's how it is. Let me hydrate for a second. So, almost done with Reckless. I mean, it felt like quite long today. Maybe just because the 99 CM was like insanely slow. But either way, we are almost done. And it was quite fun with this new Elite spec, to be honest. If it's the same, I have to read the chat after this, otherwise I will fall down here. Oh my god, we did it. If it's the same, if you're not against it, do you think the commander tech should be maximum 20 players in World vs. World to push the smaller squads? I don't know. I think it's really hard to... wouldn't you then just play two 20-person squads together? Like, why would you be incentivized to run around with 20-person squads on the different side of the maps, you know? I don't know. I think World vs. World is very hard to balance and fix in that regard. I hope they have it on their radar, but it seems like World vs. World is the game mode where they say, yeah, we leave it like it is. You know, it's working for now. We don't change stuff that is working. That's how it currently looks like. So I would be all up for making experimental changes like this, but I'm not sure. I think a lot of the very high veteran player base just wants to leave it like it is. I think most people would have a nice balance of the balancing of their attacks and stuff, but changes, like systematic changes to specific things in World vs. World, I'm not sure if veterans would really like that. I don't know. You have to talk to someone that plays like World vs. World 24/7. They would have more insight on that. Going to finish a full set of Generation 3 weapons with a bank full of weapon chests. Is there any possibility I would need a duplicate legendary? I mean, probably not, just for the quality of life. I have that, but I think the times that I actually need that is like almost never. So I would say almost never, yeah. I've watched Iskaris videos, but I'm far too fast to keep up. Yeah, it's like Iskaris videos is for veterans or for people that actually want to go really deep, but it's not like explained slowly, and so I will try to make a video about it that is more, so to say, to the point without being too fast and still like making you be able to follow. That is the idea. Let's see if I can pull that off, but like I said, it will take a while. I have to learn it first, and it's not the easiest class to learn. That is sadly the case, which is okay, yeah. It would be good if a commander could open a new map instance with 40 players. That would be cool. For PvE, that would be really cool if you had the option as a commander to say, okay, it's like a guild event. Just guild events are not really used that much anymore. It would be really cool if the guild events would be expanded. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I mean, we have to be careful though, because I think Guild Wars 2 is a game that is focused around open world. And as soon as you make the open world, how can I say, instance in a sense, because you always want to be in a squad, you know? You always want to be in a squad, and you will never find any commanders anymore in the open world maps, because they always create a new map for their, so to say, try-hard squad, and a normal player will not join them anymore. I think that's also not good. So you have to find a middle ground here. Hard. It's really hard, but it's, after all, that's how developing for a game goes. I just come up with potential ideas, maybe, stuff like that. We can criticize something, but we don't really have to come up with a solution. Yeah. All I can recommend is that you learn the combos, utilize the notation, start building from there. Yeah, definitely. That's how all builds go, but typically that's even more important for Spear on Thief. Good point, good point. 99% of the open world commanders never set a squad message, so they don't have any idea what they're actually doing on the map. True. True. It's like they bought the commander tech just to showcase where they are, so that they find another group of players that they actually can get the stuff done. That's how it seems, yeah. I agree. That's just like Guild Wars 2 in a nutshell. A lot of people just want to get the easiest time possible. They don't want to have the best time for everyone else. They just want to get the easiest time for them. That seems like fair. which is understandable to some extent. But of course, if you have a commander tech, I think it's nice to have also some responsibility in telling players. Ooh, am I lagging? No, someone else is lagging. Okay, there we go. The final boss fight for today. Very good, very good. How do you feel about power conduit in PvP? It needs... power conduit in PvP is like insane amount of damage, but also very squishy. I think it's a very fun build to play if you like this kind of playstyle. I like a more well-rounded playstyle typically in ranked because I just don't want to like survive only when my support is on me, otherwise I might die. But I think it's a very, very interesting idea. I'm not sure if they will leave the numbers though, because it seems extremely punishing. Like, imagine a new player encountering someone that has a power-based conduit build and is just like teleporting on them and they are dead within a second. That is very frustrating. And I think that's why I highly suspect a nerf to the damage output. But I think in general it is okay that it exists. It's actually quite good that it exists. Yeah. Love the way that with few things you always find the pros and cons of the ideas and not fall for biases. I mean, I always try to look at both sides. I think it's really important in life to not always say this is the absolute truth and that's just the only thing that counts. But I also have some biases. You see that in my tier lists. If that happens, please let me know. I really want to improve on that and want to mention that then. But I think it's nice that you acknowledge that. And that's really, I'm happy to hear that, for sure. I try to always look at both sides. That's my general goal here. Yeah, for sure. Maybe that commander squads are forced to be listed in the LFG. Yeah, that would be interesting, yeah. I mean, then it would be hard to make some kind of private challenge event or something. I don't know. I think it's so much to consider. And you always have to consider there's probably also some way of making negative impact on the game. You know, there is always some kind of way to abuse it, the system. So I think it's really, really challenging to make some kind of systematic changes like that and make it only positive. It's really like, and it's a lot of time and effort that they put in. That's the thing as well. If you put in hours and let's say dozens of people working on that system and then it fails because it's just not as good, oh boy, that is feeling painful. So there are so many things to consider. I don't know. I would not be happy in their like state. I don't want to decide that. Is Guild Wars 2 still alive? I played last time in End of Dragons. I want to play an MMO again. I think Guild Wars 2 is more alive than ever since End of Dragons came out. Like, it's probably has more active players right now than it had like a couple of months after End of Dragons. I think like right now it's probably the highest amount of player base, especially new players, than a long time. Yeah, it's really alive. Yeah, I would say so. It's just like the social media, like Twitch, YouTube, it's not as active. There are not that many people watching YouTube stuff or watching Twitch streams. It's just like the player base is very active. Just the amount of social activity outside of the game is way lower than other MMOs, even with the player base. Yeah. Some people won't get your sarcasm and will take it seriously. Yeah, that I noticed that a lot in my tier lists. So I make tier lists and then I make some comments about, for example, Mechanist in PvP and say Mechanist in PvP is garbage, you shouldn't play it. And in the next sentence I say, this is my bias, I know, but this is, so to say, my opinion as a high-level PvP player. And then someone already before the second part of the comment to Mechanist, they didn't even listen to because they already in the comments and typing, I'm a Mechanist, I'm playing Mechanist, I'm Platinum 1, I'm the best player with Mechanist. You know, it's like, it doesn't really, like, I can say what I want. I put a disclaimer in front of my tier list that is like 1 minute long disclaimer where I explain what I do in this playlist and what I don't do in this playlist or in this tier list. And people skip the disclaimer and flame me for being only focusing on this specific part of the tier list, even though I said specifically why I do that in the disclaimer. It's like you can do whatever you want. There's always someone offended by my opinion. So I just accept that, and at this point I embrace it. Yeah, I really do. That's just how it is. Yeah. That's sure. That's just life, I guess, nowadays. As a content creator, you have to accept that people like offend you for the craziest shit, you know. Saying, for example, that in the recent like balance changes to Skimmer, for example, they changed Skimmer that the cooldown is lower. Yeah, I said this is a change to make Skimmer not as broken as it was before. I got comments offending me that this is the worst change ever. I mean, I didn't make that change. I'm just saying that it's happening now. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's really crazy. I did not notice that before I was a content creator, that there are so many people that are offending the content creator for things that they actually they didn't do. You know, I never had any issue I wasn't like responsible for anything there. It's just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It really is. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Exactly. I mean, tier lists are thing. I personally really like tier lists. I like doing them. I like talking to other people about opinions. Maybe I get even convinced that I'm completely off. I think that is really nice. Debate about the game is what I like. I like to talk to you guys and talk about what I think is good, what is bad, what needs to be improved. And I think a tier list is a perfect way to do that. But there are always people that offend me for sharing my opinion, which is like crazy. I would never offend anybody for sharing their opinion. I might not share their opinion, but I would not offend them for it. Yeah, crazy. Exactly, Swiss Guardian, exactly. How dare you? Exactly. I just saw your World vs. World Heal Evoker video. I do not quite understand what triggers the attunement stop effect and energy sigil in this build. So I will tell you how that works. On Evoker, if you play Evoker and you lock yourself into one attunement, there is this specific traits. You see I'm waterlocked, like fire locked right now. And this trait here makes it so that I will trigger my weapon swap sigils as well as my attunement swaps that are from the corresponding elements. So I'm currently fire locked, so I will trigger the fire trait here, this one, that I get a fire aura when I attune to fire. Then I use my empowered F5 skill. So not the basic one, but the empowered one. So that's why I can trigger, for example, my healing ripple on the water evoker and stuff like that. Yeah, that is the thing. Yeah, so hopefully that was clear. The empowered F5 skill triggers the attunement swaps. Yes. I made a few funny, obvious comments on a YouTube video that got many comments and too many people ignored it being a joke and answered literally either lacking of humor or stupid people. Yeah, I mean, I think it's completely... I like engagement. I just don't like if people offend me. I think that is... at this point, I like just accept it, but I think offending somebody for just mentioning or making a video, putting effort in, I think that's not nice. You know, you can disagree and put a nice comment, constructive comment in the chat, and say, okay, this build is not for me and this trade is stupid to take because this is just better or whatever. Yeah, you can make that. But saying you are a bad content creator, you are stupid, you are the worst person on earth, that is just not helping, you know? So, yeah, what can I say? Like I said, there are just a lot of idiots around. That's how it is. Yeah. Do bank and character slots go often on sale? I would say typically every 2 to 3 months. I think there might be even some coming up, or maybe they are already over. I did not check. I think they might be even coming up in the next week with the Black Friday sales and stuff. So they were already started. Maybe they were last week or they are next week. I think they are just around now, right now. Yeah. Yeah. Viva is good. Viva is a fun spec. It's really, really fun. It's challenging. It's not the best DPS. So wait for my final judgment on DPS Viva until the 9th of December. There I will do starting a lot of tier lists regarding the actual balance, because right now I don't expect the balance numbers to be like that forever. So 60k DPS benchmarks, I don't expect to stay. So I will judge Viva how it compares to the others after the next balance patch, okay? Yeah. But yeah. No idiots here in chat. You're all nice people. I know you. Very good. Yeah, but either way, I think that's the end of today's stream. I had a blast. It was really fun. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Thanks a lot for watching. And thanks for your support. And don't forget, if you want to buy a Guild Wars 2 expansion, you can do so. Currently, there's still a sale going on. Use my referral link, of course, to support me. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. I have some really, really good content coming up. Hopefully you find it good as well. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice weekend. Take care and hopefully see you next stream.